Life is a cold and unending sorrowful trudge, and then we all fall gratefully into the grave. I'm Spike.
I'm Kel.
I'm Amanda, and we got all our personal life venting out of the way to avoid this. I wanted to
Hi,
start
everybody,
on a better foot.
and welcome to the
Yeah.
Geek Show. Thank you for coming for another incredibly formless and unplanned and
Okay. So
amateurish evening.
I I told you that I had a question to start off our
You did.
discussion.
You
But
did.
hold off on it,
Um.
because I want to
Okay.
talk about something real quick before I will forget. So right before we started the recording, Spike is working on a drawing in Clip
Oh
Studio
yeah.
Paint and made
Yeah.
3D models, little maquettes for it, and was asking, "What do you think of the maquettes?"
Yes.
And I was
Here it
going to
comes.
give my commentary on the maquettes.
All
Okay.
right. Give
Uh,
them.
so this is not on specifically with spikes, but just on the
Oh.
3D models in general.
Uh-huh.
I don't. I think they're very helpful, but I really don't like.
Okay, can
Like,
you
I
elaborate?
like to reference them, but I cannot trace them. I hate them.
Okay, all right, that actually makes sense, and I am going to go a step further there, and I'm going to go out on a limb and make a few enemies, and I'm going to say there is a look some people's work get where I can look at it and I can go, "Oh, big fan of the 3D models in Clip Studio Paint, are we?" Because there is sort of
Here, I'll
it needs
crank
fingerprint.
Spike's audio.
Oh, sorry, I'm not very close to my mic, am I?
Uh,
Let me
I can also crank you individually.
Okay, please do.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the things
Okay,
that
crank Spike.
I have mentioned before where I remember somebody on Pillow Fort specifically asked for some feedback on their art. And the feedback I gave said something along the lines of, I can tell you use Clip Studio Paint's 3D models. And part of the reason I can tell is that there are things Clip Studio Paint's models can't do.
Yeah.
And the primary thing, I think the most obvious tell, is that Clip Studio Paints are rigid, kind of no matter what. If you, as a human being made of flesh, sit down on a chair, your ass will pancake out. How much it
My
pancakes
ass would never pancake.
how much it pancakes out is all about how much ass you have, but everybody's
But
ass
also,
pancakes out.
also how hard the chair is
Yeah.
Also,
because
how
it
hard the
will.
chair. Yeah, and
Yeah.
again, if there's a cushion in the chair, that will experience some sort of deformation simply from the pressure of your pancaked ass. Clip Studio Paint can't account for that. It's not powerful enough. So when I see perfectly ovoid asses sitting on chairs in someone's comic panel or illustration,
Like
I
Barbie
think to
dolls.
myself, yeah, like Barbie dolls, I think to myself, "Ah,
The
yes, I
point
too
of
am a fan."
contact is the edge of the diameter.
Yeah. I too think Clip Studio Paint maquettes are very
Well,
useful.
I think it
But
was after I started using them is when I realized I intentionally break bodies. Cause
oh, yeah, there is a thing you can check on there, yeah.
no. I mean, like, I give like
When
arms and
sh-
I
when
give
she
arms
draws.
like my style is.
Yeah.
I learned like I made me realize my style is to give people an arch to their arms that is not realistic, but I like
Ah.
it.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I if yeah, if you folks wanna go to my Twitter right now, you'll see that my last image upload was the maquettes I'm currently using for something I'm drawing right now, and since uploading that, I have done my preliminary sketch over those maquettes, and I have changed about 4, 5, 6 different things, like, I've made head
So
sizes larger and bigger, I've made hands larger and bigger, I've moved arms, because it may have been correct, but it wasn't visually satisfying.
Yeah.
what I do, I don't use the Manga Studio 3D models for people. I only use them for horses.
Uh-huh.
Um, but what I do instead is so I rough out my drawing, and then I bribe friends with pizza to do the same poses that are in my roughs.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I don't get nitpicky and be like, "Oh, you have to be perfectly in this pose,"
Oh, yeah.
because part of the reason why I ask them to do that is to better accurately show the way people like hold weight on their legs or something like that, or like lean against a wall or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So um like if I told both of you to rest your head on your hand, uh, n- uh you would do something like you're gonna hold your weight slightly different from each other.
Yeah.
Um and so it not only helps with like giving a weight to my drawings, but also having people do it different times will break me out of what are my go-to
Yeah.
poses.
Yeah.
Um
That's why people watching can
and
be such a great activity.
yeah, so that's what I was doing before the pandemic. I haven't done it since COVID.
Because everyone's diseased.
Uh, um, so I'd like to start doing that again. But oh yeah, on my website there's a bunch of pictures of Kevin in goofy poses.
Yeah. Kevin is a
Because
mutual
what
friend of ours.
Yeah, because one of my Patreon goals is that I would share the reference photos I take for my comics. I did get Kevin's permission before posting them all online. But yeah, if you click reference photos on my website, you will get a bunch of pictures of Kevin. Um,
It's important to note, I always feel the need to bring this up whenever I discuss the maquettes in Clip Studio Point Paint. I find them extremely useful. A
Oh,
lot of
yes.
people find them extremely useful. The image on my Twitter right now is a great example of I have no fucking idea where I would find reference for something like that. There just isn't a lot of reference out there for 6'4" women and 5'4" men cuddling. There just isn't. And the man has goat legs. You
See,
know, it's like that just doesn't really
maybe I should do
exist.
maybe I should do a visual demonstration, but mostly what I like to do, what usually helps me if I can't find a reference is just do big blocky shapes, just like block in shapes.
Yeah, that does help, but to me, it's not as useful as
That's
actually
fair.
putting the figures together and being able to put them at an interesting angle. That's what Clip Studio Paint is for. It is a
yeah,
great tool, but it is not a replacement for actually understanding how light and shadow, human bodies form, and drapery works. It's
yeah.
just not.
You know what I might actually start using the 3D models for?
What?
Um, when someone falls or
Oh yeah.
slips.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
because that is a case where they don't have their weight like on one foot or whatever because they're
Mhm.
falling. They're specifically don't have their weight in a good place for them to hold their body. Um,
Makes sense.
uh, but yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I already said it, but I'm just gonna highlight it again. Like a lot of the characters I draw, they interact a lot because they're in WoW, so they're always in each other's face. But they're also proportionally something it's not particularly easy to find reference for. And I recall my attempts to find reference for the characters are Satyr and Boltungan for
I
reference for
knew it.
folks who don't, of course.
I'm so smart
For
and clever.
for folks who don't know, Boltungan is a kind of were hyena, and she is
Her
six foot
big.
four. She's very big, and Satyr is 5'4", and that kind of like looking for reference for a 6'4" woman and a 5'4" dude, pretty difficult shit. I'm sure there's some out there, but I'm pretty particular about the kind of poses I want and the kind of interaction between the figures I want. And it is brutal trying to find reference for stuff like that. And that's where
Get
clips
on my level. Use your imagination.
the
yeah.
maquettes for clips I do use my imagination. The maquettes for Clip Studio Paint just make it so much easier
I know
to
I'm
get
goofing.
all that to get all that kind of out of the way. The tedious part
I
out of the way.
I mean, Kevin's not 6'6", and he's also not a curvy lady. I just add those parts.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
Carving Kevin
obviously
up.
it's important to know how to fucking draw. The models will not teach you to draw. I think there are a lot of weaknesses, like I said, that are present in people's work
Now,
when they
I
rely on the models
I
too
did
heavily. But
download a model of a truck. It's the only model I
yeah,
have that's like not a basic shape like squares or whatever that's Yeah, it's his truck because it's like I refuse to learn to draw a truck.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
see,
one.
that's also like, especially if you need to draw a specific truck, just get a
Yeah,
model.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, yeah. There is no benefit, zero benefit. I'm gonna
yeah,
fucking speak in absolutes here to trying to sit there and spend 4 hours out of your finite life, bullshitting the undercarriage of a Ford F-150. There's no reason to do that. It won't look convincing. You'll have wasted hours, and nobody will care anyway. Just download the
I,
model, flip it
as
upside
long
down.
as it stylistically works with the rest of your art, because like
yeah.
I have seen people like you do like a much looser, flowy style suddenly draw a really like inorganic truck, and it's just like that
Yeah.
don't look right.
Yeah, actually, you know what? This is kind of leading into something we could talk about, like our favorite little cheats in
Oh, we
Clip
could, but Kel
Studio Paint.
also had a
I had a
a
prompt.
prompt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I'll write
Okay,
down
you
your
know what?
prompt, and it can be next. Your prompt was
Yeah,
for cheats.
yes, cheats. But for now, Cal did call dibs on a prompt, so let's
So,
hear it.
in my other streams,
Yeah.
one of my usual chatters named Onion Knight
Oh,
said that a movie that we were talking about a movie, and he said that movie is in my top 5 sci-fi movies.
okay.
What are your top 5 sci-fi movies?
Okay, let's see if I even
Okay,
have
real
that.
quick. You know this is like a question that sucks for me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured because
I've
Amanda
seen
does not
like
have the same
5
I mean,
choice.
sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
there you go. There's your top 5.
Okay. So,
I'll give you mine real quick.
okay.
I said Jurassic Park,
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I guess that
the
counts.
Iron Giant,
That counts?
Okay.
um, Sorry to Bother You, um, The World's End, and The One I Love. Cause I tend to do like sci-fi movies that are on like more modern day but have like one sci-fi thing put in. Um,
Okay.
but
All right. For me, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I think I've got it. Okay. Akira,
mhm, mhm,
Mad
Oh yeah, I guess
Max
that counts.
Beyond Thunderdome, The
mhm.
Fifth Element, The Last Starfighter, and let me think. Oh, Fantastic Planet. Those are mine.
Uh, but yeah, Amanda, you being like, "Oh, Jurassic Park counts." Like that was also Joe's reaction because Joe, like you, like a lot of his favorite movies are not what your mind jumps to when you think of
Yeah, I
sci-fi.
guess I
Yeah.
would have classified Jurassic Park as action adventure.
But it's still sci-fi
I guess.
because they DNA'd those dinosaurs up.
I mean, it
Yeah,
feels more like action fantasy to me.
a lot of my favorite sci-fi stuff is stuff I saw when
But
I was
also
young. So
genres are stupid, so don't listen to me.
Yeah. Well, so and that led to what I wanted to get you guys' opinions. Like, so your thought, Amanda, as a jumping off point of that it feels like fantasy to you. Um, where in
Okay,
your hearts, both of
again,
you, is the
again,
divide?
again, you can't ask me that. I'm stupid when it comes to movies. I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't really think I'm qualified to answer those questions.
I
Well,
think the
see,
divide.
this is just more of a in genre in general. It doesn't
Right?
necessarily
No,
have to be
no, no.
about movies.
No, I understand, but again, I don't really. Here's the thing. I also don't care about genre that much. So like, after saying that, and I realize I don't actually have that strong a feeling like about it, I could be easily persuaded very quickly.
I mean, that's why it's a discussion.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
I
yeah.
realize right now I have
Uh,
nothing to say about it. So you might as well talk to
Also,
spite.
don't call yourself stupid,
When
Amanda.
it comes to
Yeah,
movies, I'm
seriously.
stupid.
Not stupid, you're ignorant. That's different. That's entirely different.
It means the same thing to me. It's just faster and
No,
quicker.
ignorant is just you don't know.
Yeah.
Stupid means you have some sort of organic, systemic,
Not
intractable issue
necessarily.
with learning and remembering.
That is not necessary. Stupid is not
Stupid is
permanent.
not what? No, I didn't say it was permanent. I said it was just you have an intractable issue. It's hard for you to learn, it's hard for you to remember, it's
Yeah.
hard for you to communicate.
Yeah.
That's stupid. You're not
Yeah.
stupid. You don't have issues with any of that.
Yeah, I am when it comes to movies.
Ugh. You don't have a whole bunch of movies you really enjoy, but you have a hard time communicating why you enjoy them. You just don't have a lot of movies because you haven't experienced a lot of movies. A lack of experience
Yeah,
isn't
you
stupidity, it's ignorance.
yeah, you have had very insightful things to say about what, like, makes a Miyazaki movie work for
Yeah.
you, or yeah,
Yeah, no,
so
I'm not
you're
saying.
not stupid.
Okay, I think we have different definitions of the word stupid.
Well, ours are better.
Okay, then.
Ours are
I've been
better than
outvoted.
you have been
I've been
outvoted.
Yeah.
outvoted.
Yeah, like, I am personally ignorant of string theory. I don't understand it. I can't grasp it. I can't explain it. That doesn't make me stupid. That makes me ignorant.
I would never
Yeah,
call
I'm
you
just
stupid, but if I was in your position, I would call me stupid.
Blah.
Anyway, so the sci-fi movies I do like that I have seen. Um, again, I have a very small pool I'm drawing from, but
Mhm.
oh great, I just brain farted. I saw Nope recently, and that was really good.
Oh, I've been meaning to see that one.
Um,
Mhm.
Nope is really good. I like AI artificial intelligence.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I like that movie.
yeah.
Um,
I really like it too. I feel like it gets a bad rap.
It does. It absolutely does. I don't know why everyone had such a hate on
I would
for
say
it.
Jupiter
I
Ascending, but honestly, I consider that space fantasy. That's not. That's I don't know. I feel like also that's an unfair because it's not my favorite sci-fi movie. It's just a movie I like.
Uh-huh.
Um,
um
I guess if you say Iron Giant, I like Iron Giant. Uh, Lilo and Stitch, if Lilo and Stitch counts.
that's a sci-fi movie. Yes, he's an
Okay.
alien. That
Yeah.
makes it sci-fi.
All right,
Yeah.
then Lilo and Stitch.
Uh yeah, so like cuz I was talking to Joe
I
about
feel like
where
there's
in
gotta be
our
more.
Mm.
yeah. Well, see, I just said top 5 and you
I
said
know, but
5.
did
So,
I?
yeah. You said Lilo and Stitch, Iron Giant, the
AI.
Nope, AI. Yeah, so you need one more.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like sitting like,
Okay.
oh god, what? Treasure Planet.
Yeah, that's a
Huh.
sci-fi movie.
Treasure
Okay.
Planet top tier. It's
Okay.
definitely the more magic-y sci-fi, but
Oh, definitely.
Treasure Planet's great. I will fight everyone to the death on that.
Oh, no, you are welcome to Treasure Planet. Like, I sit here and I talk about Akira all the time. If someone's gonna roll up and they're gonna be like, "Akira makes no sense. It's pretty and it's vacuous.
I've
It's
never
just
seen it.
it ends with on a bullshit note that doesn't solve any problems or answer any questions." I will sit there
I
and I'll be like, "You are absolutely correct."
I've never seen
uh
it. I've read the entire manga. I've never seen the movie.
The manga is
yeah,
10 times better than the movie.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the same camp as Amanda. I have read the manga but not seen the movie.
Suffice to say, the movie was made while the manga was still running and hadn't
I
ended yet.
also like the manga is so long that I was like, they cannot possibly fit all of this into a
And
movie
you're
and have it
absolutely
be a
right,
good
and
movie.
as when I got older and I actually read the manga, it did affect the way I saw the film because
Mm.
there are characters that are massively altered in the film, and there are characters who are wholly left out of the film. And one of my favorite characters actually makes 0 appearances in the film. Her name is Chiyoko,
Yeah.
and she's fucking baller as hell. She's one of my favorite characters in the entire book, and she just does not appear in the movie at all. And
That's a
there's
bummer.
another character named Lady Miyako who you'll see her in the film, but she is a man in the film, and she is in it for maybe 8 seconds and then immediately dies. And I it's like, that is ultimate disrespect.
Gosh.
Lady Chiako in the manga no, not I'm sorry, Lady Miyako in the manga is so fucking amazing, and Chiyoko in the manga is so fucking amazing, and I love them both, and they're baller as shit, and the movie did them so dirty. I took offense after I found out what they were like in the manga.
God, the manga's also wild because there's like a point where it's like 10 pages of buildings being
Oh yeah,
destroyed.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you haven't read, I know it's quite an investment, everyone, but hey, get a library card. If you have not read the Akira manga, I implore you to change that. It
It
is
might be hard to find because it was out of print for a while.
Want to hear something
And
sad?
yeah.
yeah.
My ex kept all the Akira in the divorce.
Oh
No.
god, terrible.
Concessions had to be made.
But yeah, it is.
Uh,
It's masterpiece is not hyperbole. It's one of the best manga I've ever read. It's fantastic.
that it was homework at SCAD, so
Oh, okay.
we had to read Akira and we had to read Watchmen.
Oh,
Um,
Akira's
or we had to read the first volume of Akira, and it was optional if we wanted to continue to read Akira. Basically, at the time, it was out of print,
uh-huh.
so our professor just said, like, bring in a jump drive, and I'll give you all of it. Um,
Piracy.
Hey, it's
because
out of
like
print.
there was literally no way to buy it in English.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um
The thing about Akira is the movie is kind of a separate animal. You need to sort of consider it as inspired by the manga as opposed to an adaptation of the manga because it
yeah,
is
that's
utterly
that's
fucking remarkable in its own way that sticks with
mhm.
literally almost 40 years after I first saw it. And that includes things like the visuals and the soundtracks and the framing, things like people who are into animation and are kind of on that sort of 101 nerd level, they can tell you about Akira bike slide. Like, haha, there it is, referenced in this other anime, referenced in this American
They
cartoon,
referenced
referenced
it
in
in
this film.
Nope.
Yeah, the Akira bike slide gets a lot of references. That's not even a mote, a molecule, an atom
what
of
what I
amazing
think
shit in that
is
film.
really funny is um in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker,
Uh-huh.
there is a scene where some buildings get blown up,
Mhm.
and they the animation studio that they hired to like do the in between stuff and the actual like literal animation rather than just the keyframes, they were
Mhm.
like, we want it to look like this scene in Akira. And then the animation studio is like, so half our crew worked on that scene,
Uh-huh.
so we'll just do it over again but better because we've improved in the several decade like the decades since then.
Amazing.
Like,
And I
yeah.
think also it's like
So
the thing.
I just think it's really funny. It would be like if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, can you redraw the first page of Templar Arizona? Because that's what
God,
I want this
bruh.
thing to look like
And
is Templar
I'd
Arizona."
I'd say no because that sucks.
I
But
mean,
Redraw.
this person is also paying you a lot of money to do it,
okay.
so you can be like, "Yes, I can draw the first page of Templar Arizona. It will be better than the original because I have gotten better
Yeah.
in the passing decades." But
Yeah. Also, if anyone here, if you're not in the mood to like go and sit down and watch Akira, I genuinely I implore you watch the film. You can find the soundtrack, I'm pretty sure, fairly easily on YouTube streaming somewhere.
Oh shit, Ghost in the
And
Shell.
go ahead
That's
and
yeah,
sci-fi.
listen
I love
to
that
the
movie.
sound go ahead and listen to the soundtrack of Akira because it is unlike fucking anything you have ever heard, period. The end. Again, it's one of those things that literally almost 40 years later still sticks with me. So, yeah,
uh,
Akira. Akira is my favorite. It's not
but
perfect, it's my favorite, and that's just how it is.
yeah, so the conversation that Joe and I had after this discussion of what are our favorite sci-fi movies um is where in your heart is the line between sci-fi and fantasy, because that's a very individual thing, I think. Like,
It's very arbitrary.
it's very arbitrary, which is why I think it's interesting to ask everyone
Yeah.
their opinion on it, like
Honestly,
instinctually.
yeah, I
Yeah.
consider it an aesthetic. I consider it like the kind of branding you have going on in your story. People have argued persuasively that Star Wars is fantasy, and I'm not going to say they're wrong. It's one of those things where to me it's about mood and aesthetic. It's if
Yeah.
sci-fi tends to okay, that again pulling this directly out of my ass. I'm sure you can all poke a million holes in it, but it just occurred to me to say something like this. In my opinion, and this is developed from sci-fi that I personally enjoy and sci-fi that I think if you presented an avid reader with a list of it, they would not dispute you for 5 seconds that it was sci-fi. Sci-fi is a disguise a story puts on to talk about current events, and fantasy is more fantastical, which is why fantasy and fantastical together. Like, to me, a good example of sci-fi I enjoy, let's talk about books, let's talk about the Culture series. The Culture
Mhm.
series by Ian M. Banks, I've mentioned it on here before, I think, but if you have not read anything by Ian M. Banks, I ask you to either go to the library or Audible or a bookstore
Stop trying to make me read.
and look for a book called The Player of Games. And go ahead and buy that book and read it. It is, in my opinion, one of the best culture novels. And it's called a culture novel because it is about something called the culture, which is in the far flung future where everything is post need, post scarcity, everything fucking rocks. You live as long as you want. You can look however you want. You can do whatever you want. There's no need to work. There's no need to do anything because post scarcity society, run in large part, but not exclusively, by benevolent AI. So that's the culture.
Mhm.
And the culture is a setting that is used to sort of discuss the characters' interpersonal issues and societal complications. A thing that is a feature of the culture, which is constantly sort of a push and pull that they do, is since everyone in the culture is by and large blissfully happy and wants for nothing, the culture has developed this idea that their one purpose should be spreading their culture to other planets, whether those planets want to be part of the culture or fucking not. So it's kind of this, they don't give you a choice. If the culture were to show up on Earth, a good example, if the culture were to become aware of Earth, they would spend 20 years killing all of our world leaders and replacing them with exact genetic copies that contain the brains of benevolent AI. And then 20 years from now, they would all unveil, say, "Hi, what's up? We are now in control of your world. You're all about to be immortal gods that live in bliss forever, whether you like it or not." And
Uh,
there is an argument, this is not cool. And honestly, I kind of see it. And that's what makes the culture novel so interesting. They're not telling me a story about a king who wants to be a king and a queen who wants to be a queen and let's fight giant battles and oh, we must take they're taking the hobbits to fucking wherever. It's not that. It's let's talk about complicated social and technological issues. That's what the culture
okay.
and that's what sci-fi is to me.
Okay. First of all, Spike, have
Yeah.
you seen A World's End?
No.
You should, because it's a parody of the culture novels.
Oh, okay.
um, it is very clearly like you explaining the culture, like I'm just connecting the dots, and I'm like,
Okay.
that is basically what the aliens in the world's ends want to do.
Okay.
Um, and also, I know for a fact that everyone who made the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy read Ian Banks
Oh.
because there is a joke in Hot Fuzz about Ian Banks.
Oh, okay.
Um, it is a very stealth. It's like a prop design joke, so it's easy to miss. But in Hot Fuzz, there's always a guy behind the reception who seems disinterested and doesn't know what's going on. And at the
Uh-huh.
end of the movie, it's revealed that there are actually two receptionists, and that's why like they're only half aware of what's going on at any given point and are like, nobody tells me nothing is the thing they say repeatedly.
Oh.
Um, and the way when you watch the movie that you can tell the twins apart is one is reading an Ian Banks novel and the other is reading an E.M. Banks novel.
That's
um,
cute. Okay.
um, but so the World's End, it is basically that's what the aliens are trying to do, and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's nonsense interrupts them, like
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
Um,
The player of games, for folks who are curious, it's part of the reason it's my favorite culture novel. I have to fucking talk up Ian M. Banks here. Part of the reason it's my favorite culture novel is, again, this is about the culture. Everything's perfect. Everything's handed to you on a silver plate. You spend your entire life doing exactly what you fucking want and not a single thing more. If you
mhm.
want to transplant 50 penises all over your body and make each one of them capable of fucking, you can do that. If you decide you want to live the next 50 years as a woman, and then you want to decide live the next 50 years as a man, and then you want to decide to live the next 50 years as something kind of in between, you can do that. No one cares. If you decide you want 6 arms, you can do that. No one cares. That's a culture novel. That's rather the
Okay.
culture. And the deal with player of games is there is a guy who is well known in the culture as being really good at surprise, surprise playing games. And he is recruited by the arm of the culture that forcibly indoctrinates other cultures into the culture and changes them into the culture, called special circumstances. So think of them as a combination of like MI5 and gray UFO aliens who go around abducting people. That's special circumstances. And they recruit the player of games to go to this planet and basically compete in this planet's whole thing where they every 5 years hold a tournament with complex puzzles and games to decide who gets to run the planet. And they want him to win so they can literally take the planet over and destroy its foundational culture and just incorporate it into the culture. And the thing that I fucking love about this whole setup is he is being debriefed by special circumstances. And the thing that special circumstances tells him is, so this planet is a empire and they think they're very strong. They have 3 or 4 client planets that they have conquered and now rule over in an imperialistic oppressive manner. It's super important these people do not understand how technologically advanced we are and how big we are. Because if they truly understood our size and power, they would instantly self-destruct in a stupid, blind, rabid animal panic, and we cannot have that. We will send you down to the
Uh,
planet with a robot servitor assistant, but he will be wearing a suit, and the suit is basically a suit to make him look much more primitive and less capable than he actually is. Because again, the AI and the culture are basically god level. So they have dressed him up like idiot R2D2 to send him down to the planet with the player of games so that they don't no one cottons on to how powerful the culture is. And when his planet approaches this imperialistic planet, like the AI comments, "Oh, that's so fucking cute. They're scanning me. Oh my god. Oh, they're looking for weapons. That's fucking adorable. Oh, it's like they think they could see them." You know what? Just so it's not weird, I'm gonna let them think I have 1 or 2 because it'd be more suspicious if I had none. So let me go ahead and make sure they see I have 1 or 2. It's like it's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. Anyway, everyone read
okay.
player.
You have not
So,
sold me on it. I'm sorry.
It's good. It's good. I promise.
so, for me, Spike,
Mhm.
I also think that it is an aesthetic thing.
Yeah,
Like, at the end of the day, it is down to aesthetics.
I
What
agree.
makes Iron Giant a
Sci-fi.
sci-fi is
Yeah,
that he's a giant robot and he comes from outer space.
exactly.
Um, Superman is an alien. Superman is a sci-fi comic. Um, and so for me, I think fantasy can also talk about modern problems.
Uh-huh.
At least fantasy that I enjoy usually does. Like Ursula K. Le Guin's Earthsea, in particularly the later Earthsea books,
And the dispossessed,
are
yeah.
yeah, are very like detailed exploration on gender roles.
Although The Dispossessed
Um,
is definitely sci-fi, so
Oh, let me change the
well,
text.
that's why I stuck to Earthsea, because
yeah.
that's clearly fantasy. And
Yeah.
so for me, the difference comes in the explanation of why things happen.
Hmm.
So Jurassic Park is a sci-fi because they are like, we took the DNA of the dinosaurs and then we put this frog DNA, and it's very like, this is what we are basing the why things exist is based on, they're at least attempting a scientific explanation.
Okay.
And then in fantasy, things happen because, at least at least in good fantasy, um they're happening because of like a metaphor or a poetic thing. So in Shape of Water, her scars on her neck get turned into gills because they already kind of looked like gills, so it is poetic that she is dating this fishman and then she gets gills. Like, why does she get gills? It is not because she was injected with fishman DNA. It is because of the poetic symmetry of her scars versus the way gills would look. Um, and so for me, that is where the distinction lies in the why is this thing happening?
Okay.
Um, uh,
Fair enough. I mean, I'm
so
I'm not
yeah,
a picky person about like, oh, where does
yeah,
sci-fi end and where does fantasy? And
yeah,
I've seen some real tedious nerd ass arguments over, well, actually, it's fantasy. I'm just like, okay, like fucking okay.
yeah,
If you,
yeah. So
I don't
like,
care.
this is why I think it's interesting to ask people who aren't going to get tedious and defensive about it.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like, because one thing that is an ongoing discussion of, because I listened and read so many stupid Song of Ice and Fire fan theories.
Uh huh.
One of the more popular trend of them is trying to argue that Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, and Game of Thrones are secretly a post-apocalyptic sci-fi, and that all the magic is actually psychic powers. And it's like,
How would
Ooh,
it change fucking anything?
that's
yeah, well, see, that was like, how are psychic powers different from magic powers?
that's really fucking stupid. I'd have
And
no personal investment.
actually, if you go into the history of the publication of sci-fi versus fantasy, the
Mhm.
reason why psychic powers get included in sci-fi but not in fantasy is because the editor-in-chief of one specific sci-fi magazine in the 50s thought psychic powers were plausible, and so therefore he thought that they were scientifically accurate, whereas
Mhm.
magic was not. So when
Well,
he
to
was saying, you can publish this in my sci-fi magazine, psychic powers that do anything was like, as long as you said it was psychic powers rather than magic, you could get him to publish your short story as a sci-fi thing.
well, yeah, I mean, that's probably from the men who stare at goats era of history, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a time when people really truly thought that was a thing, and so I can see that. Like a future
So,
Uh,
one of my favorite features of sci-fi and why I kind of adhere
Amanda, Amanda, what were you gonna say?
nah,
Okay.
one of my favorite features of sci-fi and why I adhere to the whole it's commentary on modern day thing is I listen to a lot of OTR, old time radio for folks who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If you are interested in some free entertainment, go and look for OTR radio and you will find so much streaming OTR radio. It's so entertaining and there are multiple sci-fi shows. My personal favorite is one called X minus 1. And these shows date from the early and mid-century, like the 30s forward, maybe through the 60s, and there's lots of them. And one of the things that I love about antique sci-fi is you can tell what sort of the new science of the day was because the sci-fi discusses the new science of the day and it was really popular to kind of extrapolate it to a conclusion of some sort. And a good example of that is there was a episode of X minus one about a far-flung future in the 80s, I believe it was, where the entire world was run by psychologists and psychiatrists. And from birth, you were analyzed and examined, and your perfect job, your perfect spouse, your perfect home, your perfect friends were all chosen for you by psychiatrists because they understood the human mind so perfectly. They knew how to make your life perfect. And you got a dossier, you had a dossier where all these things were assigned to you throughout your life. And this allowed you, in theory, to lead the ideal life where you were the absolute happiest you could possibly be because a psychiatrist, the science of the mind, your mind was so expertly sort of Brave New World style manipulated that everyone was just deliriously happy in the psychiatry controlled world. And of course the story was about someone who started wondering, like, is this truly the happiest I can be? Yes, we have been taught, the psychiatrists know, they understand the enigma of the human mind, and they know what's best because of their years of study, and we now comprehend the brain in a way our ancestors could only dream of. But is it true? And is me wondering about it, have the psychologists accounted for that? That episode of X minus one came out around a time when sort of psychiatry was becoming part of the ambient awareness of society at large. So they discussed
Mhm.
that. And the same way you look at old comic books, where the powers came from are often connected to what's going on in science right now. And
Mhm.
so there right now the thing, a lot of superheroes, not all obviously, but a lot of superheroes who are being conceived of in the modern day, it's the result of string theory and nanotech. But back in the day, it was radiation. A lot of radiation made superheroes, and
Mhm.
that that's just sort of what I like about sci-fi, that people read an article, in Science Insider or something, and they went, "Ooh," they just wrote a whole story about it.
Um, uh, Whereas, like, so the sci-fi that I like, um, isn't all society commentary. Um, because, while I can tell you about how rushing production of a product that is not untested to market is a bad idea is the real message of Jurassic Park. That's maybe not the actual intent of writing Jurassic Park.
Uh-huh.
Um, but so to bring it back to World's End, a lot of my favorite sci-fis have to do with an emotional core of a movie, like of a story. Um, and so, like, World's End, I already told you that they're basically, the aliens are trying to do the same thing as the culture.
Mhm.
Um, but the plot is about a guy who peaked in high school and never got to finish doing a pub crawl that was supposedly really tough. And he almost finished it, and he was like, that was the best night of my life. And I want to gather up all my friends from high school, and we're gonna finish the pub crawl as adults. Um, and as they slowly reveal that their hometown has been replaced by aliens and robots, he is still very insistent that they finish the pub crawl, to the annoyance of all of his friends who are like, weird alien shit is going on. We should maybe deal with this. And he's like, no, we have to finish the pub crawl.
That's kind
Um,
of funny. And
and
definitely.
you find out later in the movie, the reason why it's one of my favorites is because I feel like it is one where knowing the end of the movie makes watching the movie better. Because
Oh.
once you know the explanation on why he is so desperate to finish this pub crawl, um, it becomes like heartbreakingly sad and pathetic that he is so wrapped up in this pub crawl. Like, so the comedy, so it's still funny, but it's also very sad at the same time.
Hmm.
So
Is he dying?
use no,
Okay.
or at least not of an illness.
Oh, okay. Is he
He
gonna kill
plans
himself?
to,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
basically.
Okay.
And it's like the first opening scene is him explaining that the pub crawl was the best night of his life. And kind of ends with him going, and it was all downhill from there.
Uh,
And he's in a group therapy thing. And they don't explain that until it's revealed that he attempted to kill himself, failed. He wants to finish this pub crawl and then kill himself.
Hmm.
Um, and so this shithead addict who is suicidal is the one who has to argue with the culture that it is bad for them to interfere with his life. He has a right to be a fuck up and do all the drugs and get like ruin his life. They don't have the right to tell him not to do those things.
Yeah. I can see that's actually it's very clear to me. I've never seen that. I've never even heard of this film, but it's very clear to me. Yeah, that is definitely some commentary on the culture novels because
Yeah, yeah.
90% of the culture novels are about something like that. The very first culture novel, which in my opinion is not particularly interesting, I think it's Consider Phlebas, is what it's called.
Mm,
I believe, or I might be thinking of Use of Weapons. No, I think it's Consider Phlebas. It's the least strong, least defined culture novel. And if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not getting the name wrong, it is about the culture fighting a war, and it was one of those
mhm,
things that they didn't want to do, but they felt they had no choice about it. They had to fight this war because it was the only way to get through to these fucking people. And from the very beginning of the book, this is like no other fucking sci-fi novel about a war. It's very, very clear the culture is not just going to win, they're going to fucking crush these people. It's going to be gruesome. And these people will not give up, these people will not surrender. They will have to be pounded into a paste before the culture can air quotes save them. So it's probably the most pointed kind of examination of, is this really the right thing to do? Like, you're
mhm.
fucking murdering
Uh,
millions of people to make them air quotes happy. So,
because World's End is a comedy, they compare what the culture is doing to Starbucks.
huh.
They're Starbucksing the universe. And
Ooh.
comparing it to Starbucks like replacing indie coffee shops.
I don't think that's particularly fair. Because Starbucks kind of sucks, and being immortal and gorgeous and happy for your entire life does not. But the thing is, yeah, that is an interesting
Yeah,
question. The whole sort of and of course that's why I like these books. That it's like this:
yeah.
do you have a right to force happiness on people?
Yeah, and
With over
so,
8,000.
or to force them to fix their lives in the case of this guy who's a suicidal addict.
Yeah. There's actually
And
there's another one, another culture novel everyone should read. I believe it's called The Hydrogen Sonata. Okay. And The Hydrogen Sonata is about this group of people who sort of willingly allowed themselves, this planet of people who willingly allowed themselves to be absorbed by the culture and, have their lives and
mhm,
planet improved. However, they have always sort of held the culture at arm's length regardless, because they have a holy book. And this holy book is unlike any holy book you've ever seen or heard of before, because it has been right every single time. Imagine if we found an Assyrian clay tablet, and on that Assyrian clay tablet, no poetry, no riddles, no mysteriously having to dig for it. It literally said, on September 11th, 2001, Osama bin Laden will crash two planes into the Twin Towers. This will trigger global warfare, blah, blah, blah. Also, this guy will be born. His name will be Albert Einstein. He will discover the theory of relativity, which will lead to atomic weaponry, which will be dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima by the United States in World War II, which will happen. Like, imagine an Assyrian clay tablet said that in no uncertain
mm,
terms. That is kind of the holy book these people have. It is a couple thousand years old, I believe, and it has been right 100% of the time. And part of the reason they hold the culture at arm's length is this book tells them, in this year, on this date, all of you people will ascend to a higher plane of being. And so
mhm,
they have no reason to not believe in that. And so they don't participate in sort of the eternal hedonism of the culture, because they have a date with destiny, a literal date with destiny. And the Hydrogen Sonata opens with this date with destiny being not that far away. And it's kind of like someone who's been diagnosed with a terminal illness putting their affairs in order. Everyone on this planet is kind of saying goodbye, closing up the house, locking the door behind them, putting the chairs up on the table, and turning on the lights of their entire fucking planet because they see this coming and they have no reason to believe it won't happen. And the hydrogen sonata that is named in the title is the universe's most difficult piece of music, and the main character in the book has had multiple arms grafted onto her body so she can play the hydrogen sonata. Because again, on this planet, since everything is now drawing to a close, she wants to play the hydrogen sonata once with no errors before she finally ascends. Everyone kind of
Mhm.
is developing this sort of thing that they're doing where they want to do this one thing and then they will be happy to go. But the culture shows up, dun dun dun, and they basically say, "Hey, that book, it's fake." And that is where the book starts. That's where the story starts. And again, it's like, is this moral? Is going to these
Mhm.
people and saying, "Hey, that thing you have based your culture around for thousands of years, it's fake and we have proof and we're going to do something about it." Is that a fucking moral thing to do? Is that okay? And that's kind of why I love these books because they're just so fucking wacky like that. I love that shit. And
Yeah.
Ian M. Banks died a early death, and I feel the way about him that I feel about Satoshi Kon. I feel we as human beings, as lovers of art, were fucking robbed. Cancer is bullshit.
Um, how are you, Amanda?
Huh?
Hi, Amanda.
What?
Just hearing me go on and on and on about books you haven't read must be exhilarating stuff. I know.
Eh. Y'all are
Yeah.
eager to talk.
Yeah. You got anything that you want to add?
I did a while back. uh, um, mostly just that, like, I guess to me, again, I don't have a broad range of experiences, but when it comes to sci-fi and fantasy, I feel like one, it really doesn't matter. They are kind of interchangeable in my head. But
Yeah.
if I had to sit down and really put my finger on it, I think for me what makes sci-fi is it's speculative and it's like something like these are things that could feasibly happen
Yeah.
and care and I guess so because I was thinking why did Jurassic Park not grip me as sci-fi? And I think the reason is even when it was being written, um they were the writer was outright disregarding like actual science and facts. Went out they said, "You know what? Like for example, they went with the name Velociraptor, even though by that time they knew it wasn't the same as the. I think it was a.
It's chickeny.
It's much smaller, but it's a cooler name.
Yeah, it's better than Utah Raptor, which is
Well, no,
Di
Utah Raptor was discovered after, so Utah Raptor.
Deinonychus, I think, would be
Yeah, I think
closer to
Yeah.
it.
Deinonychus is the one. So yeah, like when they were making that one, they really leaned on like it was the science was actually really not important. Like there
Yeah.
was bullshit. It was more about getting you to the experience of dinosaur adventure, and that's why to me it doesn't ring sci-fi in my head because even when it was being made, even the science just felt like bullshit just to get you to a point.
Have you seen
um
the movie or read the book?
I haven't read the book. I've just heard about the behind the scenes
I
stuff of the
mean,
book, and I have seen the
we were
movie.
just talking about movies though, so
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah, fair
that's what I'm
enough.
saying, but understanding
yeah.
that, and like the movie did nothing to correct that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
Like the
true. That's
movie
absolutely
also
true.
leaned into it. The movie did make some of the best dinosaur reconstructions of the time, but they also intentionally ignored a lot of stuff. Like some of it was
Mhm.
practical. Like a man could not fit in a Deinonychus size. I think that's how you say it, right?
Deinonychus,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A man could not fit in a properly scaled. So even if they did try to make it now, Utah Raptor, yes, but the Utah Raptor hadn't been discovered yet. I don't think.
yeah.
But to get they had to upscale those bastards because a puppeteer could not get inside them otherwise. But there's also lots of other stuff where they intentionally just said, no, we're going with the law of cool with this one.
The law of cool, that's an
I mean,
important
so
phrase.
in the books, that is a plot point, Amanda, that they basically say, well, we're already fucking around with their genetics to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
them cooler. And so the in the movie, the Asian scientist guy at the beginning, who's not in most of the movie, he's in the books more. And there's a part where he meets with the rich guy that is funding everything, and he's like, "So the dinosaurs are really aggressive and keep breaking out, and I think that we should kill them all and then start from scratch. But this time we will make the dinosaurs genetically more docile." And the billionaire's like, "What? No, we can't do that. Then they wouldn't be real dinosaurs." And the guy's like, "They're already not real dinosaurs. Like, we've already fucked with their DNA enough that they probably don't actually look like real dinosaurs. So we might as well make them easier to control." And the billionaire guy is like, "You're fired. I hate you." And the Asian guy just shrugs and leaves. Like,
Yeah,
um,
there's a bit in Jurassic Park, the book, that
mhm,
charmed me so much when I read it when I was young, so much that I still remember it to this day, where they go on this tangent that's kind of related to what you were talking about, Cal, about what they can do with these DNA sequences now that they have them. And one of the things they
mhm.
propose is little pet-sized triceratops, like the size of a medium-sized dog. And somebody was all like, "You can do that?" And they're like, "Well, shit, we've got the blueprint now. We can do pretty much whatever we want." And I remember thinking
Yeah.
like, "Triceratops dog!" Like that was the coolest fucking thing I'd ever heard of.
I mean, to be fair, it is very cool. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, when was the last time you watched Jurassic Park?
Oh god, it's been years.
Not that
Okay,
long
so
ago.
last time I watched it, I was like, the whole plot gets started because the billionaire doesn't want to pay workers' comp for that guy that dies at the very beginning.
Is it?
Yes, that's why he hired the lawyer, and that's why he's having experts claim that his park is safe, is because he doesn't
Oh.
want to pay the family of the guy that got eaten by the raptors at the very, very beginning.
Oh, see, I don't remember that bit. It's been a long
Yeah,
time.
covering
It's like
honestly,
two,
that isn't that like a theme in all three movies? Is like
yeah,
covering up like
yeah. So it's like two lines of dialogue, so it is very easy to miss, but it is like, oh, like this is horrible. um,
so.
Mhm.
So that's why, like Jurassic Park, the movie specifically, in my head, like I don't think my brain goes sci-fi because it feels like it handwaves a lot. Like, okay, no, we know this can't, couldn't really happen. We understand that. Play along,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay,
mhm,
I happily play along. And that's why Star Wars, like, honestly, if I hadn't, after finally seeing it and had people not told me, like, had I not been, I naturally I say sci-fi just because I know that's the correct answer, but in my head, it's like, I feel like it's fantasy.
Mhm.
So,
yeah.
and you said Superman sci-fi, just because, but to me, that's fantasy. I feel like there has never been any attempt for it to be speculative or realistic. Like people have tried in retrospect, I feel like it's always
Mhm.
been very silly and very fantasy. Like this is magic. I'm sorry, I don't care that he's an alien. He's a magical alien.
It's always been very, "Wouldn't it be cool?" And that's kind of as far as
Yeah,
it went.
and I don't think that's bad. I actually
No, no, it's not
prefer
bad at all.
fantasy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I do like science fiction. It's just
Yeah.
I also think, like, for example, the Dragon Riders of Pern series is fantasy, but they are also the world building is they're actually on different planets.
Uh-huh.
Like in one of them, I believe it's the oh, I forget the name of the one. It's the music themed series. Um
I
of
have not read any Dragon Riders of Pern, so I
Yeah,
can't
well that's what I'm trying
argue.
to I know, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
It's the music
Mhm.
series, and one of the things that's a plot element of the book is occasionally there, because this is on a different planet, it is not Earth, it is specifically a planet in space.
Mhm.
There are spores that rain down from the sky that are very destructive, and getting caught in these rains is really really bad. And that's a major plot point of it. And I think, like, yes, there are dragons, but like there's weird science fiction stuff in it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it's iffy, it's weird. Yeah, Harper's Hall. Thank you so much. Um So yeah, like that's why it's like, yes, I'd say they're fantasy, but I could totally see if someone came at me as like, no, I would like to make the argument the Dragon Riders of Pern series is science fiction. I would be like, nope, I totally get it.
Yeah.
And this is why I was saying like that for me fantasy is the explanation um is either just it's magic, don't worry about it, or it's some sort of metaphor vibes thing is the explanation for why things are happening.
I think vibes
Um
is a great way to discuss, well, what's their sweet fantasy and sci-fi? Vibes.
Vibes.
It's ultimately
Uh
just all vibes.
But even then, I wouldn't die
yeah.
on the cross for any to argue any one thing is like sci-fi
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
fantasy. Because like
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like it can all be lumped into fantasy, and I'd be like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
vibes.
I also while having this discussion with Joe last night, um I did look at how iTunes categorizes the movies I have bought on iTunes, and
Uh-huh.
it does not distinguish between sci-fi and fantasy. It puts them in the same category. So
Vibes.
uh, yeah,
Can I
it is
talk about
completely.
can I talk about the film that I have a feeling like only old ass fucking people such as myself have a
Mhm.
soft spot for?
I
I
don't
think
know.
I've mentioned it on here before, but I can't stop talking about it because I think in certain ways it's been weirdly influential on me in a way that's hard to pin down.
Mhm.
That would be The Last Starfighter. Have you guys ever seen that?
When I was really,
I
really little.
always confuse it with Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, for
Wait,
folks
is
who
that
aren't
what I'm thinking of?
maybe for folks who aren't aware, The Last Starfighter is about a
I gotta look
teenage
this
boy,
up.
and it was like an '80s teenage boy, so he was like 24, who
Uh,
lived in a trailer park with his mom and his little brother, and a video game cabinet appeared in the trailer park at some point called The Last Starfighter. And he basically dedicated himself to beating this very hard game. And he did beat it. And when he beat it, he was looking, he was like celebrating, people were watching him. And
Okay,
then
real quick sidebar. Kel, I too was mixing it up with Flight of the
with Flight
Navigator.
of the
That's the
Navigator.
one I've
Yes,
seen.
that's
okay.
that's the one
But
that I always confuse it with. I always forget which one is which.
yeah. But
But
anyway,
Continue.
yeah. So the video game cabinet breaks. It like it shuts down after he beats it. So it's really anticlimactic and he's not thrilled. And he goes to bed that night, and long story short, what ends up happening is surprise, the last Starfighter cabinets are actually tests, like Ender's Game kind of tests
yeah, to
that
see if he can actually
yeah,
fight a battle or
yeah,
whatever in
it
space.
that mimics the controls of a real a real starfighter. One night while he is in his trailer sleeping, he is visited by an alien agent that is clearly in the guise of a sort of Columbo-esque human who informs him of all of this and tells him he needs to come to space because the side of good that is deploying these starfighter cabinets, they suffered a massive rout recently and they have almost no starfighter pilots left. So they really need his help if he wants to save the universe. He needs to come to space now. And he's
Um,
very, I can't do that. I have responsibilities here on Earth. And they're like, oh, it's cool. Don't worry. And this is the part, if you remember anything about Last Starfighter, you remember this. They tell him it's okay. We will put a clone here on Earth of you that will basically function in all of your capacities, and no one will know you're gone while you're off in space fighting the evil empire. And there is a scene that you can find gifs of that this clone, it shows up as functionally a blank, and it goes into his room and lies in his bed, and it kind of needs to turn into him over the course of a day. And there's a scene where the little brother comes into his room and goes, hey, get up, and the clone thing that he thinks is his brother has the covers pulled up all the way over its head and just goes, and the little brother's like, ha ha, you can't wake up, I guess you had a late night last night, okay, bye, and leaves the room. But then the clone
That's
thing
unrealistic. In my
pulls
experience, that little brother would jump on the bed.
the clone thing pulls the blanket down, and it is, if you are my age when I saw this, like 8 or 9, it is a horrific, glistening, raw, no eyelids, no hair, fish mouth, pulsating
Okay, let me look
mass
this.
that is in the mid morphing into this guy. And it's just it's this horrible thing. I should mention too, it's not fully organic because another scene you probably remember if you've seen Last Starfighter is at some point this
Oh
clone
God.
starts malfunctioning.
Okay, I looked up
And
this scene you're talking about because I'm like, it can't be that bad.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, never mind, it's that
it's
bad.
bad. It's bad. It's bad. And another scene for you to look up is the brother and the guy and his little brother, they have the same bedroom, so they've got bunk beds. And the clone at some point starts minorly malfunctioning. And in the middle of the night, it gets up and it takes its head off. And it puts its head on the desk and starts fucking with its head. And the little brother wakes up and the head is facing forward, so it can see behind the body, and it sees that the little brother is watching it. And it says
And it
in
says, "You're dreaming, go back to sleep."
yeah, it says, "Michael, you're having a dream. Go back to sleep." In just this really fucking haunting way. And the kid
Yeah.
just sort of nods and shrinks back into bed, but then, like, looks between the slats of the bed, and the clone catches and goes, "Michael!" And just, he immediately pulls the blanket back up. And it is just so fucking gnarly. Last Starfighter has a lot of like moments like that. And I saw it multiple times as a child because it was a TV movie a lot. And if you've
Uh,
never seen it, I'm sure you folks can find it. I
See,
would
that's
recommend
why I
watching.
saw The Last Starfighter, because it was a TV. No, no, I'm not. I mean, See, I did it
Flight
again.
of the
Flight of the
Navigator.
Navigator, because it was on
Yeah,
TV a lot. I think on
yeah,
the Disney Channel, actually. Oh,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. It's a Disney movie.
There you go.
That's why I
Uh,
saw it on the Disney
and
Channel all the
and in
time.
Flight of the Navigator, Pee Wee Herman is the robot that's the AI that pilots the ship.
Ah.
Hmm.
Uh, which he does a good job of not using his Pee Wee Herman voice until there's a part where the robot malfunctions, and then I was like, oh,
Right.
it's Pee Wee
Matt is
Herman.
in the chat with
Um,
opinions.
Yeah. It's
uh,
but yeah, I hardly ever see anyone talk about Last
uh,
Starfighter.
you know who also clearly liked Last Starfighter?
Whoever made Overwatch.
I was gonna say Terry Pratchett,
Oh.
because he has a book called Only You Can Save Mankind
Oh.
that is it's a kid's book he wrote that is like the beginning is basically the setup you described.
Uh-huh.
But the main character tries to use diplomacy in the game and finds out that like the aliens that he has been annihilating, like it is actually controlling a remote ship or whatever. And
Mhm.
the aliens that he is fighting, they're losing the war because they do not understand how it is that these battleships can basically respawn.
Ah,
He's like, no matter how many times we kill you, like you keep coming back, like you
mhm,
just magically appear again. Um,
and we don't
and
understand why.
and we don't understand how, and so then he like tries to interact with the aliens more, and then the villain of the series, like the antagonist, is a girl who is like the Space Invaders champ. She's basically the main character of The Last Starfighter.
Ender's Game, that
um
kid, yeah.
yeah, and she is like she's the one who's like, "Well, maybe you should try getting good," like
Yeah,
because she is just like ruthlessly slaughtering this alien race without thinking about it because it's a game.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you folks should I think there's something that is obvious in retrospect to anyone who doesn't realize it, but after Star Wars came out in the 70s, there was because, Hollywood shares a single brain cell, there was a glut of middling quality sci-fi films, and a lot of them are super fun. I won't say all of them, but a lot of them are super fun, and you folks should check them out.
mhm.
Last Starfighter is one of them.
I
Same way that, like
remember Fly the Navigator just having really, really cute puppets that were
Yeah.
very cute, but upsettingly slimy, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Like, I kept thinking, I
Uh,
want to hold that if you wash it.
Yeah, God, I haven't seen Last Star I wonder if it's on YouTube, I should check. I bet it is. It's one of those things where
uh,
I
is that one also a Disney movie or just Flight of the Navigator?
Oh, I don't think it's a Disney movie. I saw
Okay,
it on
'cause
I did not have cable as a child, so I saw it on network TV a lot.
I also did not have cable as a child, but, somehow saw Flight of the Navigator a shit ton.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen Flight of the Navigator. I mean
It's basically, kid gets asked to, like, pilot this thing because he's
Well,
good at video games,
no, 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 no,
or
no, 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 no. No, it's not because of that. It's because I don't remember how he ends up in the woods, but he ends up like in the woods and he like bonks his head or something. And when he wakes up, many, many years have passed. Like his
oh.
yeah,
family has aged without him.
Oh,
and
wow.
he finds out it's because of, like, these aliens grabbed him and, like, had him pilot this thing and light speed travel by the time they got back.
Time dilation,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So he stayed the same age, but everyone grew. And basically, what he has to do to fix it is to, like, find the black hole vortex thing that is going to let him go back to when they picked him up, because that was their original plan.
Mhm.
Um, but
I
yeah, but
So he
oh,
ends
I
up in this like AI controlled ship full of a lot of little like cute aliens.
I have a request for people in here. I
mhm,
am thinking of a movie I saw when I was young that's kind of from the same era as the movies we're discussing, but I can't seem to remember the title or a significant number of the details. But what I do remember is it starts out in sort of a vague sort of Western European medieval time period. And at some point, they dig a hole through the earth and they pop out in modern day. And there's a whole scene where they discover an asphalt paved road and they just can't fucking deal with it because they don't understand what it's made out of, but they do see giant, glowing, roaring monsters speeding along it. So they decide it must be some kind of river, but it's a hard river. And obviously, the giant monsters are cars, but they don't know that.
mhm.
And these are all sort of medieval people who are on some kind of quest. And it was really entertaining, but I saw it when I was young, and I'm not sure I really grokked it. I
That
don't
sounds like a joke from the He-Man movie.
No, it was definitely a live action film about
The He-Man
medieval.
movie was
There's
live
a live
action.
action He-Man movie
I
that
know that.
is about he yeah.
I saw the live
Yeah,
action He-Man movie in the theater. This was not that.
okay. Uh,
But yeah, that was back when everybody had to like come to New York or some shit. That was stupid.
That
mhm.
never stopped. I hate to break it to you. I think that
New
happened
York
in the Smurfs movie. Like that never
convinced it's
stopped.
the yeah, this is why New York is convinced it's the most important fucking place on earth. But if anybody can like recall like medieval people in like an 80s era movie digging a hole all the way through the earth and then getting freaked out by an asphalt highway, I would super appreciate remembering what it is.
I wonder if this is the same movie, because I have a memory of a vague memory of a movie where there's, like, dinosaurs and cave people, and they come
Mhm.
to Earth? Or are you specifically saying the people were definitely medieval?
Oh,
Mike, was it?
my
Okay.
husband and Untitled Project named it. It's called The Navigator, not Flight of the Navigator, just The Navigator. Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Thank you, darling husband. Thank you, Untitled Project. But yeah. I saw God, is this even still a thing? I don't even fucking know anymore. Do they have like Saturday matinees on network TV anymore?
I
No,
don't
because
watch cable.
yeah, none of us got cable.
Well, no, network TV, I said.
That's cable to me, and I don't do that either.
Ugh, yeah.
None of us have TV.
No, I haven't watched TV in a long time.
Like I- my mom's been trying to like get me to take a TV with me when I hopefully someday move, and it's like I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what to tell you, but we do not watch TV. Like
I
why
mean,
would I take that step backward?
My monitor
uh,
is a TV basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to have a TV for this is in favor of you taking a TV to your new apartment.
Yeah.
Just so I have a different screen to look at for
Okay.
pleasure and for work.
But the thing is, a TV would take up wall space where I want a wide format printer and a guillotine cutter.
Okay, that's fine.
And a sewing table.
Yeah.
I so desperately to have a secondary table that I can do crafts on.
I just got a TV on my bookshelf, and that's when I watch stuff, it's usually on the big TV.
My monitor is on one of those like arms that swivels and rotates and stuff, so like I position it when I go to bed. I just position it so I can watch it in bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
I fucked myself completely when it comes to stuff like that because now I prefer to fall asleep with the TV on. So
Spike, have you seen the mirror I have taped to my wall?
I have not, but I'm
so
like the
next
worst
to my bed there is a mirror so that when I roll over, I can still watch the YouTube.
Oh my god. Yeah, I prefer the TV on when I fall asleep.
It
now,
makes
so
closed caption very difficult, but I persevere.
I turn the TV on to something not the TV. I turn the YouTube on to something that's like 40 minutes long and then fall asleep to it. And I get shitty quality sleep. And my husband's like, you get shitty quality sleep and it literally affects your mental health. And you shouldn't do
I
that.
get great sleep, but it affects my dreams.
And he's like, you should do that. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. And then I do it anyway.
I have woken up yelling at like H-Bomber guy. Like telling him to be quiet and get out of my room.
Get out of my house.
Like, get out of my house. Oh, YouTube. Okay, never mind.
Spike, have you read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell?
I believe I've half read it. I don't think I finished it.
Well, it is certainly a hard book to get through because of the way it's written. One thing I did like is that basically the conflict is what's better, a hard magic system or a soft magic system.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole that's the whole conflict of the book is two wizards arguing over whose magic is better, the soft magic system or the hard magic system.
Just so we're 100% clear, this is the book where basically magic is incredibly weak and codified, and then someone basically invites people to a cathedral in the middle of the night to demonstrate that they have a superior form of magic. And when everyone gets there, all the statues in the cathedral start moving, right?
Yes, this is that book.
Yeah. Okay, so I started that. I did not finish it.
So Mr. Norrell is the one who wants the hard magic system. And the ongoing conflict is because he's like, if you do this thing, you get this result. And he's basically treating magic like science. And because of that, his magic is more reliable. So the government likes him as like his Majesty's wizard. But the other guy, it is unreliable, but it is flashier because it's running on vibes. And like there's a part where a ship is stuck on a sandbank, and then he finds out like the name of the type of sand is called horse sand, and because of that he turns the sand into horses and they pull the ship to safety or whatever.
I remember that. Yeah.
But he can't like replicate that ever again, and he can't go to another beach with a different kind of sand and do that because that's not horse sand. It can't turn into horses. Like so like the general populace likes that guy better because it's showier. And but he can do he's basically useless. But I thought that was interesting as just like because so many fantasy nerds online talk about hard magic systems versus soft magic systems and which are better and how to use them. And I blame Brandon Sanderson for this whole thing. But it was just funny to like on a meta level to have that be the conflict of the book.
See, I always like fantasy that has both.
Yeah. I am a big proponent of do what works for the story.
Yeah.
So if a hard magic system worked for the story, do that. If both work, then do that. If a super soft one works, then do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way I approach and the way I like storytelling is like I'm not really very particular about how you do your magic or how you do your science for that matter. What I care about is that it's consistent. And if you establish rules, you then don't just ignore them from then on. You can break
Mhm.
the rules because, in my opinion, an important part of fun storytelling is okay, in this world, anyone who wears green can't do magic. But here in book two, it opens with a man dressed head to toe in green and he's doing magic. What? Like, the rule can be stupid. The rule can
But
be
what if that's
arbitrary.
interesting that he's breaking the rule?
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
The rules can be stupid and arbitrary, but you have to have them. And
But
if you keep to the rule in like book one, where it's like, oh, it's all about the quest to make magic while wearing green. Well, let's go on this quest and figure it out. And then at the end of the book, it's, oh, I guess the real lesson was the friends we made along the way.
What's
But
wrong
then
with
you
that?
get to book two, well, nothing. The beginning of book two is a guy all in green doing magic. What the fuck? The thing that's important is that is shocking because it is a rule you have established. And now
I
the rule's
see.
broken and now book two is going to be about
so
how
the
did you break.
characters have to acknowledge that it is that this guy wearing green has broken the don't wear green
Well, I don't
rule.
think it's so much
Uh,
as acknowledge. I think what she's saying is it has to be reinforced. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
if you establish a rule, the quickest way to lose me when you're doing your fucking fiction, if you establish a rule and then that rule like literally never comes up again. That's the quickest way to lose me. And you
I was
ignore
reading into the voices Spike was doing.
like the best way, like a way to describe that is let's say you establish like early on you have characters and the characters are a wizard and her young apprentice, and the wizard goes, oh, you must never cast this spell on Mount Fart Whistle because that will unleash the fart dragon. And then halfway through the book they're hiking Mount Fart Whistle and one of them magics up a campfire so they can have tomato soup, and it just nobody says anything.
It
And it's
sounds
like,
like just you don't like bad writing.
well, that is bad writing.
Yeah.
Establishing rules and then ignoring those rules because you either forgot them or they're inconvenient is like the heart of bad writing.
Or you're just like me
Uh,
and you're tired.
Yeah. I
I
just
forget
I'm
things all the time.
I think more the argument is dumb rather than the codifying hard magic or using soft magic or like I just think like the argument on which is better is dumb. That's my feelings on hard magic versus soft magic. Um because
yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist is really hard magic and that's great. And then but then there's plenty of shit that I like that has really soft magic.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I'm not super, picky about that kind of stuff. I'm here for a good story, and if you can figure out a way to tell a good story, I'm cool.
Full Metal Alchemist is good shit.
Don't know much about Full Metal Alchemist. It's another one of those things where everyone's like, "Oh, it's amazing, you've got to watch it." And I watched a little bit of it. I'm like, "This is fine," but it didn't like make me want to keep watching it.
Did you watch the first one or Brotherhood?
I watched the first one.
Okay, that was your mistake.
What? No.
Yeah.
Spike said no. Spike said she watched a little of it, so I would disagree.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing.
I would argue that like, if you don't watch the whole thing, you're seeing the best of it for a while, and so Spike watched the beginning of it and didn't like it. Then it might just not be for her, and Brotherhood
Mhm.
won't matter.
Yeah, that is an important thing. There are things that are not for people that one of the things that I occasionally bring up on Twitter if I want people to make agog faces at me, I'm not a fucking fan of Cowboy Bebop. I'm just not.
I'm not either.
I've given it multiple chances. I've been like, well, maybe I'm watching it wrong. Like people were fucking singing its praises so hard that I'm like, I guess I'm watching it wrong. Let me give it another chance. And no, I do not care for
Oh,
Cowboy.
the thing that makes people like give me looks.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen Fooly Cooly multiple times. I don't
Not
fucking
hitting.
get it.
Oh, see, that's me. I love FLCL. I
Yeah.
love FLCL. I fucking love FLCL. Just the
Fooly Cooly.
fucking yeah, Fooly Cooly FLCL. I love it. I think it's fucking great. And if you don't get it, it's totally fine to not get it.
I've tried so
Yeah.
hard.
I
I've watched
mean,
it so many
you
times.
you really like ladies bullying tiny boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So of
Yeah.
course you like
Yeah.
Fooly Cooly.
Yeah. But yeah, FLCL is fun. I like the music in it too. I like the absurdist
Oh, the music's
plot.
great.
The absurdist plot is fun too.
There are parts of it I liked. I just, as a whole, I was like, I got to the end and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
That
It's
felt
just-
like I enjoyed parts of it, but I felt like I could have done something else with that time.
Yeah.
I am
yeah.
glad they made it. Don't want to see it again.
I'm not one of these fucking new blood internet types who have replaced religion with fandom and consider it a personal attack if you don't enjoy the same media they do. So.
I really like Cowboy Bebop. Enough so that watching Cowboy Bebop back to back with Firefly ruined Firefly for me, and now I hate Firefly. Like the more I think about Firefly, the more I hate Firefly.
Why is that? What do they have to do with each other?
Everything good about Firefly is done better in Cowboy Bebop, and everything bad about Firefly is not in Cowboy Bebop. It's someone said, you know what Cowboy Bebop needs is a Civil War metaphor that sympathizes with the South. Whenever people ask me about Firefly, my joke response is I just don't care about space libertarians. And basically though, like since it's live action, like, and they have a budget, obviously they couldn't make the sets as pretty, but like they didn't work with what they had well. Their set design and kind of everything was sort of haphazard. Like I said, it's the Civil War in space, but we're sympathizing with the South. And also the America and Chinese culture merged together when it went into space, but we have no Asian characters. And
I think that's more valid than the Civil War thing because the Civil War thing, it always felt a little flimsy to me. Like space libertarian, yes, Civil War, no.
They flat out say we'll rise again. It is blatant that they are the South after the Civil War. Like,
I mean, yeah, I get that, but the South, like, okay, here's the thing. The South is so much more than the Civil War. The more you dig, the more insane and fucked up it gets.
Yes, I know, and the same with Firefly. Like
the thing that so much American history lesson, sort of American history classes gloss over, these people were insane. They were literally invading other countries in an attempt to establish slave nations throughout the Americas. Literal American, like random ass white dudes would show up with private armies in Mexico and Brazil and other random fucking countries and say, we own this now and you are our slaves to the locals.
Mm-hmm.
And they were dead fucking serious. There was a whole movement called something like the Golden Crescent, where if you have to picture sort of like the southern coast of the United States, like Florida and Texas and Louisiana and all that, going down to the coast of Mexico with the Yucatan coming out, and then into the Caribbean, there was a plan and they were dead fucking serious to conquer all of this and turn it into a giant slave nation. And they tried
No,
multiple times.
here's
The
like
term
I
And
agree with what you're saying. However, I think that the surface level southern comparisons are enough to put Kel off.
yeah.
yeah, like, um,
I
and
totally get that
it's
too.
the things that they are against are um healthcare for all and like people having the supplies they need. Every outer rim planet that was on the
Yeah.
side that would be the south of the Civil War is like, well, we want to sell our women. And also like this one guy controls everything and that's the way, and we don't like that the government's interfering with that. Like it is multiple planets that they go to that were on the same side as the cast are
Yeah.
like,
Paul G
we
is
want to
saying,
abuse people. Like,
yeah. Paul G is saying freebooters and filibusters. Yeah. Filibuster, the term filibuster means something totally different now than it did back then. But
mhm,
a filibuster was literally people who would go into Mexico and try and annex like 100 square miles and turn them into slave plantations. This was like a thing the rest of the
mhm.
Americas had to deal with for like 30 years. And it's insane. We do not teach this to the children in American schools because it is absolutely fucking bonkers.
um anyway, someone I know who knows my feelings about Firefly and how
Uh,
it's basically what if we made Cowboy Bebop but shitty, um, is that the new live action Cowboy Bebop came out and all the things are like, oh, they made it more like Firefly. And so this person said to me, hey, Kel, guess what? They Firefly ruined Cowboy Bebop twice. Um,
huh. Yeah, I admit I have not seen a ton of Firefly and I've not seen a ton of Cowboy Bebop, so there could be plenty I'm missing.
Uh, I wrote a thesis on Cowboy Bebop in college. I mean,
Hmm.
not Cowboy Bebop, on Firefly in college when I still liked it.
Oh, oh,
Um,
okay.
then after college, I watched them back to back and was like, oh, this is not a good show. And I think the only reason why people are still obsessed with it is because it got canceled. And if it had gotten another season, it would have petered out into nonsense and no one would remember it fondly. Um,
I think I think I've seen like 3 episodes of Firefly.
I've seen
that's
3 animated GIFs.
And I
that's
have
all
I
you
like
need to see.
and I like the
Like
theme
that.
song. I like the theme
Yeah.
song. That's it. I think I have an MP3 of the theme song.
Yeah. You have exactly enough that you don't need anything else. I say this as someone who has watched every Joss Whedon thing,
Mm.
even
That's it.
Dollhouse, which is absolutely awful. Dollhouse is why
I
I'm like, Dollhouse is like, if Firefly had not been canceled,
I don't know
we
what
would
Dollhouse.
remember it like Dollhouse rather than the way. Dollhouse is awful. You don't need to see it.
I would like to know what it is though.
Dollhouse is about this organization where
Oh
they wipe
no.
ladies' minds
Oh
and
god.
then give them new memories so they can be like the perfect spies. And then when their job is over, their mind gets wiped again, and then they get given new memories and identity when they go on their next mission. Um,
Oh my god, you know what that makes me think of?
No.
Yeah. Okay. This is some antique shit, so everyone's gonna have to forgive me. But if you can
mhm,
find it, there is a very short comic. It's almost a European style comic in that it's like 50 pages long, and the dimensions are much larger than standard sort of North American comic book size, called
mhm,
Hard Boiled. Okay. And Hard Boiled is about this horrific, hyper capitalist, hyper urban future. And it's so old that the idea of people having tattoos of like the Pepsi logo was absurd.
mhm.
Instead of a thing lots of people just had. And the idea behind Hard Boiled, and I haven't read it in a while, so sorry if I've gotten anything wrong here, folks, is there is a collection agent slash insurance person who checks up on insurance payouts, that kind of guy. And he is basically deposited in a little suburban house with a wiped memory after every job because he is not actually a man, he is a robot. And there is a woman there who he is convinced is his wife because he wakes up next to her in bed and they have sex and he has a child with her and everything. But no, she is basically his handler and it is her job to reinforce whatever programming he's been given for his latest job. So if he wakes up thinking he's an insurance adjuster, if he wakes up thinking he's a police detective, it's her job to make sure, of course, honey, aren't you going to be late for XYZ? Because remember, your name is X and your job is Y and you have to go to Z today. And he's actually a corporate assassin. That's his whole deal.
Okay. So Spike, take that premise, switch the gender roles, and then tell everyone how feminist it is that this man is controlling a woman and all her actions.
Yeah. No, but if you folks can find it, I'm sure it's decade out of print at least. Hard boiled is it's sumptuous is the only way to describe the art. It's wild. And like when I say far future, so the robot eventually at some point, he basically gets discarded. And the real plot of the book begins when he meets other models that have broken their programming. And this whole thing starts out, imagine like a granny, like an older woman with sort of like the blue rinse hairstyle and wearing sweatshirts with cats on it, like
You mean
that
life goals?
woman.
Mhm.
And that is his next target. And he is trying his hardest to kill her, but she seems fucking indestructible. And it turns
Again, life goals.
and it turns out that she is one of these she used to be what he is. She has broken the programming and she is now aware of her existence as a robot, that she is not this old woman who is an assassin bot, that she's not this old woman who works for this company that is going out to do something. She is an assassin bot and she is now free and she is trying to tell this dude. There's this whole amazing scene where this robot woman, this gynoid is the best way to describe her, she is ripping gigantic fistfuls of flesh off of her body to prove she is a robot. And the guy is watching her going, "Hey, you're a robot." And she's like, "Yeah, so are you. You're a robot too. Break the programming. You don't have to do this." And just it's really fucking cool and it's going on in a junkyard. And he eventually punches her head off because he's not ready to break his program.
Not life goals.
It's really fucking good. You know what? I'm gonna look up.
Unlike Dollhouse, where they're not robots, they're just abused women.
Yeah. I'm going to hard boiled comic.
Eggs.
And
I'm
okay,
hungry.
oh god, fuck. Well, never mind. I'm not going to recommend anyone buy it now.
Oh.
Why?
Turns out it was written by Frank Miller.
Oh yeah. I
It's
ain't
too
reading
late.
anything that
You
he
recommended
touched.
it. My hand is hovering over the buy now button.
I know,
I'm not
right?
even adding it to my cart. I'm clicking buy now.
But what I'm saying, the art is sumptuous. It is because, and if anyone here is into comics, they'll know this name. It is the art is by a man named Jeff Darrow.
Spike, I'm
And
into comics. I don't know who that is.
Jeff Darrow does sort of these hyper
He does a lot
detailed.
of fine lines as rendering,
Yeah.
rather than spot blacks.
I'm
Yeah, I'm
just
going
saying, not
to
all
actually.
comics people read the same comics.
Yeah, and this is
Mhm.
also quite old. This is at this point,
I
uh,
think sometimes
30
when
years
he's in a
old.
rush, his people turn into kind of blobs, but
Life goals.
Yeah. This is and I strongly suspect, I've never gotten any kind of confirmation, but I strongly suspect this is in the model of it's a comic, but
H-Bomb is
hey,
here, the man who ruined my dream.
if you're game, it could be a movie. Wink, wink. I think it's kind of on that level. But yeah, I'm posting some illustrations by Jeff Darrow here. and it's also hyper violent. That's an important thing. It's hyper violent, and it's very weird in its hyper violence because the main character, he's a robot, and he does not, if you shoot him, it doesn't matter. And so there are these scenes where he is just being peppered with a dozen bullets and just kind of not
Time to Google
reacting.
this and see if the word sumptuous really applies.
It's I posted
Yeah,
some
they're in Discord.
yeah, screenshots.
Okay.
Uh, I
Sumptuous is not. It looks neat.
It looks amazing.
I don't know if I'd use the word sumptuous, but it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Like, and again, I'm gonna fucking paste this. This is probably one of my favorite panels because it's just so fucking weird when you see it with like no prep. Where he's all like, "Ma'am, the Benevolent Assurance Corporation charges you with filing a false claim. We demand certain papers of disclosure." And he's saying this while there's a fucking license plate lodged in his knee,
I see.
and and he has this horribly broken hand, and you can see like the flesh has been
Are
ripped
those
away.
Christmas lights or spark plugs? Oh, I see keys. I
Yeah,
think
it's
those
a
are
spark
spark
plug.
plugs.
Yeah, it's a spark plug, and they're in his head because, he's just been in a dipstick and a rotor of some kind because he's just been in a terrible car accident, but he's not reacting because he's a robot, and robots don't feel pain, you know?
Life
And
goals.
and it's just really fucking good. It's just I really enjoy Hard Boiled. I can't pretend I
I'm
don't enjoy it after finding out Frank
I'm
Miller wrote it.
I'm never gonna read it because Frank Miller wrote it.
And that's fair. That's fair, but I really like it. It feels very much
Spike
like
loves Frank Miller. I'm tweeting that right now.
it
I've
feels very much like a secret movie
I've read a
pitch.
lot of Frank Miller's work because like an ex like front loaded me with like you gotta read all this. Like basically like I grew up on manga and then when I got married, that person was just
You need
like
to read this American
They've-
comic artist that
they've-
ripped off so much
they
manga.
buried me under so much things. Like you have to read this and you have to watch this and you have to. It basically made me go, I'm not watching and reading anything ever again.
Yeah. But Amanda, here's the character I was talking about. This is also an assassin bot, but she is self-aware now.
Like he made me watch Fight Club. I didn't want to watch Fight Club, and he said it was important if I wanted to be a good creator of things.
But yeah, that is the
Oh, that
PCV
is
Karn
life
show.
goals, 100%. Look at that.
Yeah,
It's
she's really fucking cool.
Fight Club is important if you want to analyze toxic masculinity. That's it. That's
Fight Club, I had a whole discussion on Twitter recently about like the
I
failure.
wonder what
Okay,
that ex's feelings are about the Joker.
yeah, you don't have to wonder. I think you know.
yeah.
But
Just copy paste his feelings about Fight Club.
there was a discussion that was happening
I
on
don't
Twitter
mean to
like
rip on him. I feel bad.
yeah, there was a whole discussion happening on Twitter a few days ago because Alan Moore has expressed the opinion he has been expressing for the past like fucking 20 years. And what he is expressing is basically the current form of the superhero movie has fascistic overtones, and he finds it disturbing how many people seem to vibe with it. And that's
Like,
just what he said. And people got super fucking touchy and weird about it, which is bizarre because it's like, I'm sorry, were you awake while watching Watchmen? There was a whole scene where the superheroes are debating what sort of societal ills they should tackle, and one of them is like basically uppity Negroes. This was not subtle. This is not hidden.
yeah.
I should
I'm
balance that
sorry.
out by saying like that ex actually did introduce me to really cool shit too. Like he had like the entirety of the original like floppies of Miracle Man,
Mhm.
which was fucking baller.
Yeah.
And there are pages from that have been seared into my head ever since, and that was like what, like 10 years ago. So like he had good taste. He had good taste. He just also liked dumb shit too.
Well, everyone's probably got
Yeah,
that going
exactly.
on.
Just like me. I will fist fight people for Treasure Planet.
Yeah, it's fine. And I think Treasure Planet's not that great, but it's not like I'm going to fucking sit here and ride
Get
your ass
ready.
about it.
Get ready. Get ready for the fists.
But the thing is, like this has been an Alan Moore opinion since while he was fucking writing Watchmen. This has been an Alan Moore opinion, and how people can miss this. It feels more to me like nobody ever went broke underestimating the American people kind of thing. Like there are people who are going to absolutely miss the point of the media you produce, and that's just something you're going to have to accept. But acting like you're surprised because Alan Moore calls, superhero movies embarrassing is very weird. It's like this is not
Superhero
news.
movies are. I don't like them because they're making the exact same mistakes as superhero comics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
not
like I
interested.
did this. This is why I stopped reading them, and you're doing them to me again. No, I won't watch them. This is what people are like.
Well,
Oh, why don't you watch the Marvel movies? Like, I will watch 5, and that's it. You
yeah,
cannot
Disney
make me
has
watch
a
all
lot of
of them just so I know what happens in the big finale movie. I'm sick of. No, I
Well,
fell
the
for
thing
that trick
is,
before. You can't make me fall
I
for
was
it again.
I was actually talking to Sam and Alina about this, and while they want them to all be interconnected,
No.
they're running into a problem where they're all in production at the
Shit,
same
we got a
time and they're not talking to each
bastard.
other. And it's like
I gotta
so
get into the
so
fucking thing.
so for as much as they want them to all be interconnected, if you are someone who is paying close attention to all this interconnectivity, you will get frustrated because the things aren't lining up the way they should. Like this character in this movie is a completely different version of the character that was in the other movie.
Yeah. Amanda, I'm assuming you're taking care of
Yes,
that.
yes, I had to jump through some windows, so I'm
Yeah.
doing that.
But
What happened? I'm not looking at the
Oh, there's
chat.
a bot in the chat that's advertising. I don't know anymore. Sex shit.
yeah.
Okay.
Boobies,
But yeah.
probably. I don't know.
But yeah. Um I'm just I have no fucking interest. I will never have any
Yeah,
interest. There's
I
nothing I can do to make
I haven't watched them. I watched Love and Thunder because Taika Waititi directed it,
Yeah.
and
In my old age, I have adopted the whole I try my hardest and I will fail because I am human and fallible. I try my hardest not to yuck too many other people's yums.
Oh yeah.
And I have a whole lot of people in my feed on Twitter that absolutely lose their gourds when the superhero movie they've been waiting for comes out. And I say
Yeah,
nothing
no, to
because
everybody, to everyone, whatever tickles their pickle, but like,
yeah, exactly.
I me personally, as soon as I learned the Marvel movies were doing the shared universe thing, I'm like, no, I'm out. Bye. This is I will not get on this boat. I'm sure
Mhm.
it's a fun boat. I won't do this because that's some of my least favorite shit from the comics where they just couldn't be their own thing. They had to like tie into each other. And it made them less fun cuz like they couldn't like be their own thing and have their own unique rules. It's like they had to tie into each other. But also like you had to read so much and they would take breaks from their story because there was a tie-in of it. I'm like, "No." And then they wouldn't
Yeah.
even come back to it.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have, like, fucking 3 dozen people doing all this shit all at once, you
No,
know?
no, it's not. It's also again they were all had to be tied together, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So I will only watch
um,
select movies.
I'm I'm burnt out on superheroes. I don't care. Like I
Yeah,
aggressively don't care about superheroes now.
yeah.
Um,
And
uh,
the thing that bothers me is I see them as an extension of a lot of shit I'm not thrilled about these days when it comes to entertainment media. Um,
mhm,
this is not new, but I believe it is more aggressive and pointed than it's ever been,
mhm.
that, like, we're being fed vomit. And when I say
Um,
we're being fed vomit, it's the same stuff we've already digested, and now
Oh yeah,
here's
we've
more of
talked
it.
about this before
yeah.
And,
a lot.
no, and I'm sitting here no, I'm not gonna sit here and fucking pretend that this is the first time, but it is irrefutable that we have entered a new phase of the sort of hyper-funded global entertainment factory where they are absolutely loath to do anything remotely new and untested, and it fucking sucks. I retweeted something recently by Craig McCracken, if you're not familiar. Craig McCracken created the Powerpuff Girls and
Mhm.
Wander for Yonder and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So, he's got a lot of interesting original ideas and he is now rebooting the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And somebody on Twitter asked him, "What inspired you to revisit these ideas?" And he just fucking flat out said, nobody wants anything new. They were only interested in reboots. I presented 16 original pitches to Netflix. They turned them all down.
Spike,
Yes.
I just this last weekend watched the season 3 premiere of Owl House.
Okay.
And I was simultaneously, I was like, love it, great, fantastic show,
Uh-huh.
but was also simultaneously infuriated with Disney because
Yeah. You
so
could see
basically
the
Spike,
glue and all the shit they condensed in that 46
yeah,
minutes.
well, so basically Spike, they're not getting a full third season. The compromise is like Disney wanted to just cancel them. They fought really hard, and the compromise is that they're going to get like 3 movies to finish the story, and that will be their quote unquote third season. And so the
Uh-huh.
first little movie dropped. In the little movie, there is a montage that is very clearly these would have been all of our like lighter episodes that don't move the main plot but do like move their emotional beats further. Like,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I love this montage and I love this whole episode, but I am simultaneously furious
Yeah.
that I didn't get the full episode that these
Yeah.
little clips are from.
Every single time,
Like,
every single scene, I was like, "Oh, that was clearly an episode. There's
yeah,
another
that
episode.
was an
Cool,
episode. Yeah.
cool."
Yeah. And I think that's dire. I think that's depressing. I
Oh no,
think
it is
that
depressing. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's also it's extra depressing because Owl House is so successful for Disney, like by every single metric.
Mhm.
Like every metric that you look at Owl House for, it kicked ass. Like it was the most viewed while airing live. It was the only thing that beat it most viewed on streaming was Gravity Falls because it was the 10th anniversary of Gravity Falls. Like that was the only thing that beat it.
Uh-huh.
It has won them a shit ton of awards. But they're like, no, we're canceling it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I the fact that and when I talk about being fed vomit, the thing I always think about is the remakes of animated films.
Hmm.
And I'm talking about like the fucking live action Disney, like no one asks for that. No one asks.
Yeah.
No one wants that. No one asks for that. And yet it's made. And
Hmm.
it's clear this is the plan for the foreseeable future. Let's have more Scooby Doo.
I
Let's
mean,
have
it's
more.
yeah, it's been that
Uh-huh.
way for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's new. I'm just saying
Yeah.
this is the plan for the foreseeable future. And I find that so fucking depressing. And what it basically means is I basically watch no TV these days. Almost no TV, I should say. The closest I come to watching TV is if I hear good things about a Netflix original, example, Love, Death and Robots, or shit, what's another net? On Hulu I was watching Candy for a while. Uh like I I can't fucking bear more vomit. I can't. I
Did
cannot
you
watch.
watch Pam and Tommy?
I kept meaning to. I didn't get around to it.
The same people that made it are now making a movie about the creation of Chippendales.
Huh. I'd watch
Um,
that.
Man, you should
and yeah,
just do like me, only watch gay cartoons, and then you don't watch a lot, but usually it's good.
Yeah, I finally got around to Love, Death and Robots, and I've really been enjoying that. And I should mention I do have a Crunchyroll. That's probably the closest I
Oh,
come
I need to
to
watch
watching
Chainsaw Man. I've been putting it off.
TV. I've been watching Mob Psycho. It's my treadmill. It's my treadmill
mhm.
watching because it's anime, so I have to read the subtitles, and I can't watch it while I'm working. Therefore, so
Watch dubs, you nerd.
never, fucking never.
Watch
But I've
dubs.
been watching
Dubs are really
never,
good these days.
never. I've been
Well,
watching and
actually, keep watching the subtitles of Mob Psycho because they are being shitty to the union voice
Oh, that's
actors in
true.
Mob Psycho.
yeah,
So,
so there. But yeah,
but other stuff you can watch the dub.
I've been
yeah,
saving
I just
Chainsaw Man. I'm also kind of like worried. Like I'm worried I'm hyping it too much, and I'm trying to cool down. Like, no, don't get disappointed because if you hype yourself too much, you will be disappointed,
yeah. But this is
and
why
that's stupid.
I think it's kind of lucky for me in a way that I'm into cartoons as much as I am because I turn on Crunchyroll and it's like, "Oh, here's a whole bunch of new and interesting ideas. Here's some stuff you haven't seen before. Oh, check it out. Here's an assassin that's married to another assassin and they pretend to have a daughter.
I
She's
love
not
that
really
manga.
the daughter, but she is a
He's
side
not.
chick."
He is not an assassin.
Yeah, he's
He
not
is
a
a spy.
yeah.
There is
Okay.
a difference.
Okay.
Um,
Fair enough. And their daughter is psychic and knows that they're
yes,
trying to keep
Yes.
these secrets. Obviously, this is
Here's the
spy.
thing. That's
Spy
what
Family.
Spy Family. Here's the thing about Spy Family. On paper, it's like, okay, that sounds interesting. It's 100% the execution. I could never
Oh
sell it
yeah.
to you
Oh
describing
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And like
Uh,
By the way,
and
on the
also like
subject,
fucking like again, Mob Psycho 100. I fucking love that shit. Also, fuck what Love Death and Robots, love that fucking shit. And fuck, what's the other one? Beastars, fucking love that shit.
I'm looking
There's
forward
just
to Wendell and Wild.
and it's one of those things where it's like, thank God I fucking love cartoons
There's
because
so
otherwise,
much
well,
stop motion coming out. I'm so
oh my God,
excited.
the Pinocchio, can't wait. High,
Pinocchio.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm excited about Pinocchio.
yeah.
Kel,
Well, Spike. Yeah.
remember we were talking about Kaguya-sama?
Yes,
I
I
ended up
love
getting
it.
caught up on the manga and read it in its entirety.
I love it. It's
Did
great.
not like it in the end.
Oh,
Oh,
Here's
oh.
the thing. I think the comedy top notch. Drama, hate it. I like the dramatic parts of the story. I was like, I am so sick of this, and I cannot wait for it to get back to the
You want to
jokes.
explain to the audience what this
The
is?
melodrama is so high that it kind of made me roll my eyes.
I feel like the melodrama is part of the comedy.
Okay, so
But
what is this though?
this is the one I told you about where it's the two quote unquote genius kids that like each other, but neither wants to be the bottom. So they're trying to trick the other into asking them out.
Yeah.
Because they think whoever asks the other out ends up the bottom in the relationship.
That's fucking weird, but okay.
Not a literal
so-
sex bottom, Spike.
Oh, I
Kel's
know,
being
I know.
okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
So the sort of tagline is whoever says I love you first loses.
It's very fucking funny.
That sounds really
Yes.
immature and really entertaining.
No, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the immaturity is genuinely part of the joke.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds that way.
But here's the thing, the problem, like, here's the thing, the melodrama in the anime was fine.
Mhm.
The melodrama as the manga continues, I was losing my marbles. I'm like, this has to be over soon. Like this has to end. It can't keep going on. It was just the heights of it, and then the way it resolved was like, okay, for how high the melodrama was, and the way it resolved of just a bunch of kids saying no, and I was like, I can't. Please make the jokes.
But also, Spike, these kids like elaborate plans to get the other to confess that the other loves them are like executed with Death Note style serious as they explain their plans. Like, my master plan, I will get so and so to admit, like, if they say this, then that means that they will have to admit that they were thinking of me when they did this. Like,
I did really appreciate that the series, like, one of the, and again, we don't need to talk about this forever because Spike hasn't seen it, but I did really like that the character that I thought, everyone's gonna love this character. She's the cute one, Fujiwara, I think.
yes.
Like, by the end of the series, it's like, oh no, she's awful. She is trash. She's the worst human alive, and I love it.
I really like the bit where his dad becomes a YouTuber.
Yes.
That's very funny.
Like, please
and
stop donating money to my dad.
I appreciate also that his dad, clearly the mangaka knows shit about YouTube, because I feel like a lot of the time when people who don't know about social media and internet things try to rate those, they're like, oh, he has 100 followers, it's so popular. And it's like, that's nothing. Whereas like someone, the person who made this manga actually like took the time and research to find out, when are you a successful YouTuber? Like, how many subscribers do you probably have to make this much
It's
money
also
off
really
of
great.
YouTube?
So again, not to dwell too much, but the main character's dad like was a businessman who like went broke years ago, and it's his YouTube, when he starts making his videos, he has like clickbait thumbnail titles like how my old job screwed me over and things like that, and when he's just giving business advice.
Mhm.
It's basically like his YouTube is like Ask an Old Man,
Yeah, ask an
and
old man.
and it's basically him sharing, "Hey, don't be like me, kids. I fucked up my life."
It's really he's doing like a live stream and people are donating, and his like daughter realizes it and she's like embarrassed that people are giving them money. And she like
Uh-huh.
gets on the stream when he's in the bathroom. It's like, you have to stop giving my dad money, please. And I'm like, oh, that's his daughter. Oh, we're gonna keep giving. And they keep donating. She's like, no, stop giving my dad money.
Yeah.
That's cute.
It's very cute. Again, the
He's a
melodrama.
useless bum. Stop rewarding his shitty behavior.
Yeah, please stop.
Yeah. I just and I'm watching, by the way. Okay, so I think I've mentioned this on stream before, but
Maybe.
I'm sure we've all been on the internet long enough to see that meme that shows a Gundam firing
Mhm.
a bullet over someone's head, a disembodied
Wow,
head.
cool robot.
Yeah, that is the head is yelling "Wow, cool robot" while staring at the
Oh,
Gundam. And the
are you
bullet
watching
arcing-
Gundam for lesbians?
No, I'm just watching Gundam.
It's on my
But
list.
but
I mean,
the
Gundam's
bullet
always been for gays, but yeah.
but the bullet is arcing over the head, showing it's going literally over his head, and it's labeled "War is bad."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that has never been clearer than if you watch like the original Recipe Gundam, which opens with like nonstop war crimes.
I mean, that's a lot of them.
So
Yeah.
so
That's even like
the
some of
new
the modern ones are
yeah.
even more brutal about
Yeah,
it.
that's
Mhm.
most Gundams.
And yet
Like
people
there's
still
maybe
miss the point.
but so the reason why I described I asked if you were watching Gundam for lesbians is the new Gundam is written by the creator of Revolutionary Girl Utena, and basically said we're just gonna take that and put it in Gundam.
Okay.
So it is lesbians are piloting the Gundams and committing the war crimes this time.
Yay! As it should be.
Girl bossing.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Oh.
They get to be traumatized and have PTSD now.
Yay!
This awesome girl boss is doing it for herself. She led civilian casualties in her Blackwater platoon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Move over, boys.
But yeah, it's very pretty and it's very well done. I just think it's funny that it's like it's the lesbian Gundam.
Yeah. I'm just watching the original Gundam right now where they're just figuring it out. And like, if you haven't seen the original Gundam, like I said, everyone, it opens with like fucking nonstop war crimes, just people being blown up, and the main character accidentally like murdering their own father, I believe, but not actually realizing it at the time. So like it's very fucking it's not ambiguous. It's clearly trying to tell you something. And it stuns me
Yeah,
how
Abby said
people
it's not written by the creator of Utsuna. I think you're just getting confused because it's got lots of Utsuna references in it.
Oh, I thought it was. Then people lied to me.
oh well.
No, it's
Yeah.
got a lot of Utsuna references in it, like the Choo Choo character. Again, I haven't
You
even seen
are
it, but people have been trying to sell it to me, and I'm like, dang
You're
it.
human, you're gonna fuck up.
I've never fucked up. Not once.
But yeah. I like Gundam. I've been
Yeah.
watching it.
How dare you.
Yeah. Also, I've been watching fucking what's that? Charge Man Ken.
Oh, the meme one? The meme show?
Charge Man Ken is so bad. It's great. Watch Charge Man Ken.
I have been watching.
It's apparently the same guy. According to Abby, it's the same guy who wrote Is it Turn a Gundam or Turn a Gundam? I never know how to say.
Anyway, I've mostly
that
been
one's
watching.
fucking weird too.
I've mostly been watching live action shit. I have been watching House of the Dragon.
How's that?
It is a lot of good pieces that don't quite fit together. So basically, Spike, it's based off of an in-world history book from Song of Ice and Fire. And since the source material is a fake history book, it skips all the like interpersonal relationship stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of leaning into the angle of that is written by an unreliable narrator, so they have some wiggle room when adapting to not quite follow the plot.
Uh-huh.
Um, but since it is a history book, he just focuses on the important events, which makes sense for a history book. So it is hurting the show's dramatic momentum because
Mhm.
it's like episode 1 and then we jump ahead 2 years. No, then we jump ahead a year and that's episode 2 and then we jump ahead 3 years and that's episode 3 and then we jump ahead 10 years. Um and it's just like, so in an episode Matt Smith's character gets accused of murdering a lady, and like, oh, going to be consequences for that. But then the next episode's 10 years later, and so I guess that murder didn't matter and that accusation didn't matter,
Mm.
because it's 10 years later and there were no consequences. Like,
Mhm.
so it's a lot of like the individual scenes are very good, but like they're not quite connecting
Okay.
momentum wise.
Fair enough.
Um, what's very funny is the guy who makes YouTube videos about Game of Thrones theories that I really like. Um, he does a live show after every episode, and consistently he is on team random bystander who doesn't have a name. So it's like newest episode, lady crashes, has a real girl boss moment, crashes through some buildings on her dragon and like looks really badass doing it. um that's her dramatic exit. Cut to this guy's live show after the show and he goes, so she just killed so many random bystanders, like between her dragon flailing around and debris going everywhere, at least 100 are dead, if not more. Like,
Fair enough.
and
I mean,
it's funny because he just so consistently that is the thing that he focuses on.
it's probably the kind of shit I'd focus on too. I get that. I mean, I remember when you told me about how The Boys opened, and that was all it took to make it so I'm probably never going to watch The Boys.
I believe it was Amanda who told you that, but
Oh.
also, yeah, that is a good reason to not watch The Boys.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
usually watch TV, but I was kind of like standing in the living room while my parents are like, "Oh, we're gonna watch this new show," and then I was like, "Oh, okay, well, bye." And I was well, go to my
Yeah,
room, bye.
I'm not watching
yeah.
that.
Whereas it's stuff like there's a character who's gay in this, who dies in the source material, and in the show they're like he faked his death and him and his boyfriend like rode off into the sunset and lived happily ever after, because since they're not in the plot anymore their survival chances just increased dramatically.
Mhm.
um and
You're not
but
plot
so
relevant. Your
yeah,
survival chances go up.
yeah. So, but so after that episode where it's triumphant gay guy riding off into the sunset with his boyfriend, um, there it's a very sweet moment to end the episode on. Cut to this guy's live show, and it's like, so they still grabbed the guy and murdered him. Like, yes, they didn't murder the character we know the name of and care about, but like that they still lit a guy on fire. Like,
Mm.
um.
Ugh.
It reminds me of, there's a Sam and Max comic where there's a, oh no, there's a bomb, and then they throw it out the window, and it explodes, and you hear a bunch of out from outside in the window, and it's like, good thing we took care of that bomb and no one got hurt. And they're like, no one that we know, at least.
Yeah.
Heads up,
I
no
just
pressure. 2 hour 16 mark. But you can keep going.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'll do what y'all wanna do.
I'm still drawing, so I can keep going.
I'm still painting.
I'm
Hey, Amanda,
designing the outfit. What?
Can we stream my desktop?
Okay, I was gonna talk about
Well,
what I
no.
was drawing.
Well,
Okay. Yeah, let me get it all set up. It'll take a second.
sure. I'm just gonna show folks what I've been up to, and I'm not going
I mean, you
to
could
answer.
also just send me a screen cap.
Yeah, but I want people to see it
Ah, I
live,
see.
so
Okay.
yeah. I'm not going to go into detail, but they can look at it, and then that's all I'm gonna say.
Is this gonna get us kicked off YouTube because it breaks the terms of service?
Absolutely 100% not.
Okay.
It'd be fun to kind of show folks what's going on with,
I just know that you are drawing Seder and Boltungen, and they sometimes get up to not safe for work activities.
they do because they are in love. They are
Yes,
in love and they sometimes get in each other's britches, but they are not in each other's britches here.
at this moment in
At this
time.
at this particular moment in time, they are not in fact in each other's britches. There's a word we should
Uh,
say more of, britches. Nobody says britches
I say
anymore.
britches all the time. What are you talking
I mean, yeah, you set out several hours in the day to make sure to say
Yeah.
britches. Sure, why
You
not?
can't complain about an art dying if you're not trying to preserve it.
Hey, how many times have I said britches in the past 10 minutes?
I'm just saying.
I am in the britches preservation society, so I will
Where
hear
is this stream?
fucking none of this. God damn it. Just also, I don't know everyone. Hey, you know what? I got a question for everyone here because Amanda brought this up recently. Just go ahead if you are inclined to make yourself known in the chat. Just go ahead and let me know if you would be interested if I did gaming streams, not frequently, but occasionally. And Amanda and Kel could be there or they could not be there. It might just be me and maybe me and my husband, or maybe me and Amanda, or me and Kel, or me and Amanda
I
and Kel.
mean, I would be down to
Yeah.
talk to you while I draw and you play video
Yeah,
games.
it would be a very
Um,
free form kind of thing, but I don't want to do it if nobody fucking cares. So,
You'd be better off
let
asking
me
this on Twitter, I'm gonna be real.
you think? Because see, the people here are the people who are here
No,
now,
no,
you
no, no, no,
know?
no, no. The people who are here are people who want to listen to all three of us talk for 2 hours. That is not
Mm.
necessarily all the people who would want to watch you play a video game.
yes, I will give you an example. Joe did
Uh-huh.
not watch last week's episode because he does not care about RimWorld.
Okay.
Or
Fair
they do
enough.
not care about RimWorld.
Fair enough. They don't have to. But hey, Kel,
Yes.
tomorrow, am I right?
Like I told you, I'm gonna hold off on playing for a couple of months because I want all my
Oh.
mods to get updated.
Oh, do you have a lot of vanilla expanded stuff?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they're mostly updated. I'm
Yeah.
more thinking about Pawn Morpher.
Oh, that's gonna take a bit. They're gonna probably have to rewrite whole sections of that code.
Yeah, they're gonna have to rewrite a whole bunch. And while the mutates that are gonna be in the new DLC are nice,
They are not,
um,
yeah, they are not
I
wolves.
cannot turn my enemies into wolves.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there are people who
Uh,
are like, "Oh, I'd watch that." So it's something I'll have to consider because this afternoon I suggested a how about I play some Kenshi, and Amanda was like, "Ain't nobody want that."
No, no,
And
that is not
no,
what I said. I said I will have nothing to do.
yeah.
I didn't say
yeah.
no
Yeah,
one would like
I'm
that.
I'm
Tons of
being
people
uncharitable.
would drool over that. I've seen people respond to your tweet threads where you talk about your games and people go nuts for them. They'd watch you play.
Yeah.
I would legit have nothing to do and
Yeah, that's fair
Mhm.
enough. But yeah, how do I fucking broadcast this shit, Amanda? Help me.
it's not hard. I will
Well,
help you.
you already downloaded
Streamlabs,
Streamlabs. You
yeah.
just
Oh,
need
I'll
okay.
help you
yeah.
set it up. It's not hard.
Okay, let me go ahead and open Streamlabs then.
Not
Hey
right
everyone.
now.
Oh, well, I mean the thing I'm drawing, not a game.
No, you're no,
Yeah.
no. Stream Discord.
If you're streaming on
Oh,
your
stream
own, you
Discord.
need
Like
Oh.
we did last time,
Oh.
remember?
Okay, now I remember. Pardon. Share screen.
yeah. So Amanda's saying to stream on your own, you just need Streamlabs. Like
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and click go live.
Yeah, that's what
And
I need to grab to share your thingy.
okay, and bam. Ooh, I heard a magical noise. Okay.
Need to mute it just in case. Okay. Give me
Yeah,
a hot
don't worry.
second.
It's perfectly G-rated too.
uh there is a manga that I'm editing right now, and I can't wait for it to come out so I can publicly share a very
Okay, well
goofy
now
bit
I
in
can't
it.
draw, so
Oh, why can't you draw?
because I'm streaming your thing on my monitor. I was
Oh,
drawing.
okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Then we can just do it temporarily, and then
Nah,
you
it's
can go
fine.
back. Okay.
I just was trying to talk about what I was drawing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You make me fucking feel
I
bad.
get talked over all the time when I try to talk about comics.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go
sorry.
run away.
I just want to show people what I'm doing.
I'm putting
Is it
my
up
rats
yet?
in a rucksack.
Is it up yet?
It's up. It's up. Oh no, it's not. I didn't press transition. Now it's up. It's feet. Look at its feet, everybody.
It's
Hot
feet. Look at your
damn.
feet. Feet pics. About to
Feet
be banned from
pics.
Twitch with feet pics. But
That's
yeah,
what was going on in the new episode of House of the Dragon. Foot fetish.
feet pics. Oh, what happened? I heard a sound.
Nothing
What
happened.
was that? Is anything showing up? Because I'm not seeing anything on. Oh, there they are. Okay.
Yeah, we have a lag spike.
We have a major lag.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. So basically, what I am doing here is a drawing, and let me go ahead and show you kind of what this is all about. In case you are fucking new here, this is Boltungan. The lady is Boltungan, and a Boltungan is a real thing. It is a East African were hyena. I obviously am taking extreme liberties, but it's a real folklore. And the same way that the Boltungan is a real folklore element, the satyr, who I am also taking extreme liberties with, is a real
Yeah,
folkloric
those
element.
feet would have gotten you kicked from Twitch. It's true.
And satyr and Boltungan are in love, and they're soppy about it, and that's kind of a thing.
So, Spike, question.
Yeah.
Since traditionally Boltungans are blacksmiths,
Yeah.
is your modern Boltungan, does she do any metal work?
I honestly don't think about it that often, but on the occasions I do. Maybe I want to go into more detail. I think she's probably got she went to like technical school to be a welder.
I was about to say maybe she just solders like
Yeah.
electrical boards.
Yeah, like if she was in a modern context and
she
had like
builds
modern
PCs.
Yeah. But this is what I've been drawing. I've done this over the course of like the evening while we've been
big
sitting
into
here chatting.
the hobbyist mechanical keyboard shit.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and show you, I'm going to pull back the curtain here to show you one of my favorite things about Clip Studio Paint. So let's go ahead and turn off the layer of art and turn on the layer of the models. Now these are the models that I use to help me determine how this looks. I don't follow them very religiously. They are strong suggestions and help me with perspective primarily. And I'm going to go ahead and flick back and forth between the models and the actual drawing as it currently is to show you what I mean. So the models and the drawing. Models, drawing. So you'll see that I use it for like difficult things, but there are things where I've changed the way their heads look. Obviously, the satyr has goat legs and the model does not. But I go and I change a few things, and I decided Boltungan looks better with her head up. I might actually move her head a little more, but that's what I've been doing this whole time we've been sitting here chatting. And it's been a while since I drew them, and it's always very cathartic to draw them. And that is all I wanted to share. We can take this off. Thank you, Amanda.
Did you see the video that's the new features coming out for Clip Studio?
No, I did not. I am relieved though that they aren't going to go fucking Photoshop level.
Yeah. They have smart lettering now, which is going to make my life easier.
I don't know what smart lettering is.
So smart lettering is how Photoshop gets cursive to work in Photoshop when you type it. It is making the letters be aware of what letters are next to them.
Do they have word wrap?
They have something. I think they had called it something different because I think Photoshop
no Photoshop cannot claim word wrap. That is in multiple programs.
Okay, well, they have a thing where you can make multiple items, not just words. Like they use the example of they spattered, copy pasted a bunch of little cupcakes. And then they basically told the program, put the cupcakes on this line. You can do it not just with text, but also with little images or patterns. Um, so smart text spike would be if you have a font where if you type two T's next to each other, the crossbars connect and make one line rather than two separate lines.
Oh, that's nice.
Um, so in the case of my custom font that's based off my handwriting, if I write E, my font knows to randomly select one of three different E's and not put the same E's next to each other.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds fun.
So that's what a smart. So Manga Studios font program couldn't do that before, and now it can.
You know what I'm gonna say though,
So
right?
what?
I'm gonna say that's nice if you don't want a hand letter, but I hand letter.
I mean, I do hand letter.
Spike,
It's
I
my
hate
hand.
hand lettering.
I love hand lettering.
I love handwriting lettering too. It's just to save time.
Yeah, Spike, you don't make as many comic pages as we do.
That is
My
absolutely true.
hand, Spike. Look at you can't see them, but I'm raising my little
clawed
creepy
fists.
my little creepy rat hands to the sky going Spike, Spike my joints, Spike.
Yeah, that is true because Carlos B. McNeil did get carpal tunnel from cross-hatching. So
yeah, and so then one of the other
my
things
bones,
is
Spike.
they added in an auto shading program, and that is one where their demo was on a character in a blank void, and I'm very much like, I wonder how this will work in a scene where there's a background. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of new features, it sounds like, that are going to be really, really helpful and really good shortcuts. But I reiterate what I said at the top of the program, which is
yeah.
none of these will be substitutes for actually
Well, yeah, you
understanding.
could.
So the smart text is the thing I'm the most interested in, but what they did say is like you have the models that are full bodies, they have upgraded their face model program.
Nice.
So I could technically take a drawing I did of Connor and then hold it next to the face model program and then adjust like the proportions of his eyes and whatnot. So that way the 3D model sliders match what my drawing looks like. And then I have a 3D model of his face that's in proportion.
I have to try that with Porima.
That sounds interesting.
That's gonna be funny.
Yeah, because the comic I've got in production right now, I'm gonna be real. I fudge a lot of what their faces look like. Like from certain angles, it looks like they've got kind of really subtle snouts, and then from other angles, it looks like they don't. And it just basically it's all vibes. Their faces are vibes. There's no
so
same.
For me, it's more like if I wanted to do a dramatic up shot or a dramatic down shot, that would be helpful, and that's probably all I would use it for. But when does Connor's nose block his mouth sort of reference, but
that shit's helpful.
It is, and especially if like you've got somebody dressed in an irritating way, like someone with a tricorn hat. And you can have that as reference, be like, oh wait, how do I look at this from a worm's eye view perspective or something?
Or if they got a big nose like your husband.
Quite honestly, one of the most fantastic
Why
things
is poor Matt always being dragged into stuff?
Well, no,
I think saying big nose is a neutral statement.
I know, but like why? I'm not saying it was a bad statement, but why is poor Matt always being dragged into this?
Matt definitely has a large nose, and I love it, and he knows I love it. So.
I love the story about a friend of ours saying, a friend of ours. I don't know if they want this story to be public, but
then don't. No. Then shush. Then shush. If you don't know.
Big noses are great.
All right then.
Sorry. Sorry, that was pushy. I'm sorry.
I wasn't gonna say whose identity it was. It's just when their parents met, it was a blind date, and their dad said to their mom, "Oh, you got a big nose too."
Okay.
And it's like if he hadn't put the 2 on the end, it's like that would have been the end of that blind date.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Matt
sorry, that made me that made my alarm bells go off. Like, oh, then don't.
My husband has a large beaky nose,
Leave the
and the
leave him be.
no, the worst thing about it is
Matt
that he
says,
won't.
"How is she slandering me now? I didn't catch it." You're not
No,
being slandered. You're just being unnecessarily dragged into conversations unrelated to you.
the worst thing about Matt's big nose is he won't let me kiss it very often.
You're gonna make me barf.
It's true because I like to kiss it, and he's all like, "No, it's feeling dry and crunchy and sour. You can't stop kissing it. You kiss it too hard." And that's Matt's whole thing. And I like to kiss it, but he won't let me kiss it as much as I want to kiss it. Anyway, she said, drawing a big old nose on the satyr, and he said, "Noses are great. Big noses are nice."
I also love noses.
Yes,
That's
I
also
love.
why I am interested in the what Kel was talking about, those features, because like basically it's like this don't help me at all. I never put the nose where like it is on that model, because like I just ignore the face model. But like, you know me, I love my bulbous little noses.
Yeah, a lot of the way I draw people, they are very much 2D. If you look at the way I draw, like for example, Satyr's hair and horn situation, if you try to translate to 3D, you would probably die. I'm not sure it would work.
I
Like he
did it
can't lie.
once.
He can't lie down. Literally can't lie down because his horns go straight
I think
out
I did a
back.
3D model of Satyr before for you.
Really?
Yeah, let me go look it up. Yeah, it was when I was learning and practicing. Let me go. Great. Okay, give me a second. Let me stop drawing. Let me go. I
I
gotta.
do have one beautiful drawing of Satyr by you.
Not one. You have multiple good drawings
I
of
have,
Satyr.
but this
Oh,
one
you're
is my
talking about the
favorite.
giant balls one specifically.
Yes, I fucking love the one where he has the giant nut
I was about to
sack.
say I've drawn you many good satyrs. Oh wait, you're being very specific and talking about
Yeah,
giant nutsack
yeah,
satyr.
yeah. See, Matt Sheridan is now in the chat going, "My nose is sensitive, Charlie. You need to leave it alone." I don't want to leave it alone.
Oh
You're lucky.
man,
You're lucky. I'm as gentle with it as I am.
shoot. So this is a little garbled. Oh shoot, this one's a little garbled. I don't know why it rendered this way, but I'm going to quickly pop it on the screen over everybody. This is ancient. I made this a while ago.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see if it'll jog my memory because it must have been a while ago because I
Oh,
do
it was.
not.
Oh, I haven't 3D modeled in so long. Here.
Yeah,
Again, you have to wait for the lag.
it's okay. I can wait. I'm sitting here drawing while my dog is just like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey," like
It is
monkey.
a geek show if Amanda doesn't retch at least once. Oh
I'd
no,
also get the rat with the gun image out while the rest of us are talking.
look.
Oh god. Oh
Sometimes
wow, that is so old.
yeah. In fact, I think let me right click.
Look how innocent he looks.
Properties. Yeah, that's from 2017, yeah.
He has such generous lips. He does not have such kissable lips. I'm
They're
sorry.
not that generous.
They are far more generous than what
But
he has.
it's mostly the material. It's a very
Uh,
it is a material that tends to make everything look kind of voluptuous.
yeah, he is not voluptuous in that way.
No, he's not.
Poor satyr.
He is gone now. But yeah, no, I used to do a lot of 3D modeling.
Yeah, I shouldn't even fucking say anything on here because that shit kills my motivation. But I actually have I've mentioned Habitica on Twitter a couple times. Habitica is a thing I use so my life doesn't spiral out of control, and it has to-do lists on it. Like, oh, just do a half
Here,
hour on
I'm
the
also gonna put
treadmill, answer
my
answer at
low
least
poly
10.
max on the screen.
Yeah, answer at least 10 pieces of email, do this, do that, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And it's just like, do your Japanese lesson, things like that. And that helps me keep my life on track. And one thing I recently added to my Habitica is for at least a half hour a day, I need to work on my video game. And I am doing that. And I don't want to talk about, oh, that is a nice one. I don't wanna
Um,
talk about it too much because I find that talking about it kills my motivation, but I have figured out all
I
the
love to
programming
talk about
shit
my shit.
after God, we all love to talk about our shit. I have figured out all the shit I need to figure out, and now it's just a matter of sitting down and fucking doing it, and if I put it on my Habitica, I get to do a little check mark when I do it, and I get a sense of satisfaction. So, I've been doing that. I'm very.
um,
Well, Paul, I was originally learning 3D models because I wanted to make video games with Spike, but then Spike
Yeah.
abandoned me.
I did not abandon you. My attention span was drawn elsewhere, probably. But hey, we are reigniting that, so
Yeah.
remember that.
Spike doesn't love me, so she doesn't include me in these plans.
I don't love anybody, and you know you're included. The thing I talked about, you're part
To
of
be
Kale.
fair, when I heard these plans, I basically threw myself at Spike like, I have rudimentary 3D skills. I will improve them. Let me, please, throw me help.
Mhm.
Oh, but it is 10:30.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
Don't fucking know me. It is.
Here, here,
You all were
here,
not looking.
here is my
I'm
low
gonna
poly capybara.
I'm gonna share my screen so you all can see
Okay,
the
give me a
beautiful
second. I'm gonna
page.
have to capture it again and switch to our other setup. Give me a hot second.
Are we gonna miss out on your little poly capybara now?
No, I already shared it. It's just gone now.
Okay.
Again, we're on a lag.
Yeah. Oh, that is low
Here's
poly.
Yeah, low poly's
It's
just really fun.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I have to watch it, then I have to pop it out. Okay, my full screen? Are you gonna let me? Yes, it let me full screen it finally. Get in there. There it is. People can see your shit now.
I am waiting to
yay.
see it.
So I did this page. I finished it up at the beginning of the stream, and now I'm like halfway through this page. So
I am
productive
waiting
evening.
for it to spawn.
In addition to the retching, I appreciate Amanda's demon hissing.
Oh,
Noises is what I do. I'm good at making noise.
But yeah.
Also, remember to praise us when we show you our work, everyone. So we've all shown
Yeah,
up.
you should all go read about my werewolves in the future.
Yes, and praise Kel about their werewolf story in the future.
Which
And
is
say,
both
I never thought about the wisdom of how much cars suck, Kel, before your comic opened my eyes to how cars are bullshit.
You're done. Okay.
And
they are bullshit.
right horses.
Yeah, it's about werewolves in the future.
I thought I was sorry. I left the call. I thought I was leaving the stream.
Ooh.
I messed
Yeah,
up.
I was gonna say that it's at 10:30 and we've been doing this for what, 2.5 hours now? Oh.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So do y'all want to call it here?
I mean, I would like to finish my page if we could go for another half hour, but
Okay, we can go for another half hour. I'm in no hurry. I'm just sitting here noodling on my painting. Because it's been a while since I painted and I forgot. Here's the thing, everyone. I'm a fucking idiot because the thing is I let
Can I share my screen?
I'll go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, let Amanda share hers.
Yeah, go for it. I'm not sharing my screen at all. I'm just talking about how painting intimidated me, and I was just like, it's really fucking stupid that I let painting intimidate me because when I actually sit down and do it, it's really fun.
I just gotta grab Clip Studio. Oh no. Shit. There's a lot.
And you're never gonna get me good at anything, everybody, if you don't fucking practice your shit. So I was like, oh, I'm not good at painting. Well, when was the last time you painted? Oh, it's been a couple months. Well, there you fucking go.
Okay, where should I put? I have to shrink everything.
Go for it.
I'm designing clothes for my gay witches.
Ooh, okay. This is the story we know about, right?
I don't know if you know about it. I don't
It's
think
about...
It's for Slipshine?
Yes.
Oh, those are different gay witches. Okay.
Yep.
I thought you meant about the gay witches who grew up in the gay witch town. Okay.
Oh no, that they are not gay witches. Only one of them is gay in that one. That's toxic witches.
Okay. Oh, okay. Distinction. Toxic witches and gay witches. Got it.
No, that's just what I'm drawing. That's all.
That's a nice watercolor brush.
It's a brush I made.
Yeah, I know.
It's meant to be like ink washes.
Oh, okay. It looks watercolor. Sorry, but it looks nice.
Yeah, bless you.
I mean,
the way it works is when you draw hard. Here, I gotta zoom in. The way it works is when you draw hard. I mean, soft, it's darker and lighter, and when you press harder, it gets lighter and fatter.
When you press harder, it gets lighter?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Because it's like a watercolor brush. Where
it's supposed to
out more. It gets lighter.
Well, specifically, it's supposed to simulate when you do washes and you pull on them with the brush to spread them out.
Okay.
that's what I like to sketch with.
Oh, that
Um,
is a really cool effect.
yeah, I like it a lot.
You could probably sell brushes if you wanted
I
to.
used to on Gumroad, but then Gumroad was an asshole.
Oh, you could put them on itch.
I haven't yet because I'm dumb.
Okay.
I don't like this. I'm trying to give them goth and clown aesthetics. That's their thing. It's goth witch and clown witch, and I haven't thought of their new outfits. I have to change them though because they gotta like get naked, and I put the clown witch in like suspenders and a leotard. It's like that is impossible. Never mind. We're
Are they
changing it
wearing
up.
big hats like that because they have pointy ears and you need to cover them?
No, they have normal ears.
Okay, just asking because I know about the pointy ear thing.
No, again, the pointy ear thing has been resolved. It's
Oh,
just
good. Oh, good. Oh, good.
I would rather give them cool hats because cool hats are fun to draw.
And witches wear cool hats.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, I will now stop streaming. I don't need to share the whole thing.
Amanda, since you watched the premiere for Owl House,
Yes.
I really like
Wolves.
that. Well, I love the wolves. Yes, that's the best part. But I also like when she pulls up the Find My Phone app. It says privacy, smivacy underneath. And then the other thing I really liked um, was that the guy who thinks like demons are attacking, interrupting the play. Look at their ears. They're demon children.
Yeah.
Very good.
I just like that. I do like that was basically like side up because it's Halloween. It's Halloween, sir. Calm down.
Yeah, yeah.
This is an
It's
Arby's
Halloween.
and it is Halloween, sir. Leave.
Yeah. This is real. This is an Arby's energy. Yeah, it was a good episode.
No, it was good. I'm really not good at talking about stuff sometimes. Sometimes if something's good, I'm just like, that thing was good. I nod sagely, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. Good show.
Yeah.
Are you keeping up with do you read the Chainsaw Man manga?
I keep meaning to and have not gotten a chance because I am buried in other mangas.
Gotcha. No, that's fair. That's fair. They just started up. They're continuing like the new, I guess, what do you call it, like volume, season, part 2. I don't know, but the focus is really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it.
Right now, I am editing a manga about fucking a giant snake.
As one does.
Yep.
I'm editing, or no, I'm rewriting 2 manga. One is about lesbian harem. It's very cute. I don't know how to. It's basically just about sorry, I'm brain farting real hard. I've
That's
been not
okay.
sleep. Fun fact: have not been sleeping well lately. So I tend to run out of the brain juice at weird moments.
Yeah, plus you've been streaming for fucking 2.5 hours.
That just involves sitting on my ass, though.
Yeah, but you're talking.
Yeah, but the talking's easy.
Okay. You just talked about how you brain farted, though.
Yeah, that happens periodically.
So talking isn't easy.
What are you talking about?
Talking isn't easy because you just brain farted. And if talking was easy, you wouldn't brain fart.
No, brain farting happens regardless what I'm doing.
No, only to you.
Walking to the kitchen is easy, and I still brain fart while doing it and walk off and do something else.
That's senility.
That's probably true. But brain farting is a broad category of behaviors.
Fair enough.
What was I talking about?
You haven't been sleeping well.
No, before that. Oh yeah, no,
you were
the
talking
manga
about the
rewriting.
Chainsaw manga. Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh, the manga you're rewriting.
Yeah, that's
yes.
right. The one is just about like basically this girl who's like, I've decided we're girlfriends, and the other girl's like, I think it's better that we be best friends because being girlfriends is really complicated. So they basically start like a competition. Okay, well, part-time we'll be girlfriends, part-time we'll be just friends, and we will spend our allotted time convincing the other one my side is better.
Yeah.
It's very funny and also weird.
Sounds goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one.
Oh, finish your thought. Yeah.
The other
The
one
other one.
I was worried about because it's like an isekai in another world, and I always get worried about those because they get weird, especially when it's like, look at all these hot chicks. But like, no, it's actually pretty cute. It's pretty cute and heartwarming and
That's
fun.
nice.
It's not as funny as it could be, but it's absolutely comfy. It is the definition of, do you want to read something comfy? Do you want to read a book where like just being a nice person can solve the world's problems? That's this one.
Fucking only.
Like basically it's about this like office worker dude who, again, he gets isekai'd. The first one's called There's No Freaking Way I'll Be Your Lover, unless unless dot dot dot. That's part of the title. Unless dot dot dot. I think the second one's called Let's Cultivate Land in Another World or something like that. And again, like, I was worried because, you know, isekai, all these hot girls, blah blah blah. No, it's fine. But anyway, the guy, he gets isekai to another world, and he basically gets to plot contrivances happen, and he's like, oh well, we can't actually use you for fighting, so do whatever you want. And he goes off. He's like, okay, can I have a plot of land? Like, sure. So he goes and he has a plot of land, and he cultivates it with powers he actually, it turns out, he got to just help him cultivate the land really well. And then he like gets a mermaid girlfriend, and that's it. That's his girlfriend for the rest of the comic. He gets no other girlfriends or love interests. Even though lots of girls join him. It's to the point where
I like when the mermaid loses her fucking shit over a tomato.
Yes. She eats a tomato and it is so good she loses her marbles. And what I like is even when there's another lady introduced, like, a part of the plot is she's interested in a different dude, and the main character like actually gets really giddy about the idea of like making them a house. Like, that's just the kind of dude he is. He has his wife. He doesn't need other wives. In fact, he's really excited about making another couple a house. It's like, that's adorable. And there's another. It's quite cute. I was like, oh, thank God. I'm sorry, you're right, Abby. The mermaid is his wife. It is true.
And she lives on a farm?
Yes.
That sounds like it could be problematic.
She has magic. She drinks potions and has legs. There's a joke in it that I really like, where, so when she transforms, she's not wearing underwear, and she doesn't understand why that's a problem. Everyone screams at her about it. Literally everyone yells at her about it. But when her brother comes on, he basically wears like a Speedo. And when the other characters are basically telling her, no, you need to wear underwear. Like, you have to wear underwear. And they tell her, like, yeah, panties. And then she's like, oh, like, what my brother wears? So now she's convinced her brother wears panties. Of course, when she finally starts wearing panties, she keeps showing them off to people.
That is relevant to Spike's interests. Wearing panties.
Well, he's not actually. It's really more of a Speedo, but she's like, that must be what he's wearing. He's wearing his diplomatic panties.
His diplomatic panties.
My diplomacy panties. Let me put on my diplomacy
panties. The same as the snake one? I don't know. This is a completely... Yeah, Abby, he's basically playing Minecraft IRL. And again, he doesn't really have big aspirations aside from, God, I want to make rice.
So I am editing an isekai that is basically All Dogs Go to Heaven, the isekai. It's the dog gets isekai'd with the main guy. And it's mostly just him chilling with his dog. And they're having a good time in the woods. His dog's very big and fluffy. He's gets to snuggle up with his big dog. Good dog times.
Sounds entertaining.
Yeah. But
there are so many isekais.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's like it's one of those things where it's like there's an isekai for everyone. Yeah. Do you like dog? Do you want to just go live on a farm and impress people with tomato? My favorite isekai is also one that Abby likes. Abby says, buy it now, receive it start of November. It's true. These are titles you can acquire with money. My favorite isekai right now
is called um,
Oh, Abby, links
Life
don't
Within
work.
uh, Life with an Ordinary Guy Reincarnated as a Fantasy Knockout. And basically, this guy and his buddy were at a singles mixer and he completely struck out. So he is drunk and sobbing that no one wants to date him. And then he says, I wish I was a hot girl. If I was a hot girl, then everyone would want to date me. Um, and then his friend says, I wish I could just get your drunk ass home. And then they get isekai'd and their wishes are granted. So the main character gets turned into a super hot girl that everyone wants to date. And then his friend can magically summon the front door of the main character's apartment because he wanted to just get him home. Um, and now they have to defeat the Dark Lord because that's the only way they're allowed to get home. And apparently, there's 12 gods in this fantasy world, and each of them isekai a hero. So they're all kind of parodies of different types of
Abby's asking if
hero.
that's been announced yet.
That I'm talking about an anime I watched on Crunchyroll. I don't know what you're talking about, Abby. So um there's no English manga of that yet. So anyway, the anime is on Crunchyroll, and it's great. There is the goddess of night. Her hero is the stupidest edgelord teen in existence. Um, because that's if you're goddess of darkness and whatnot, and you go up to someone and you're looking for someone to be a hero, edgelord teen is gonna appeal to your sensibilities. Um,
Hmm.
it's very fun.
So the premise of my Slipshine comic that the first issue is kind of setting up, and the second issue is we're gonna dive into is I think I hope it's as silly as or I hope it's as funny as I think it is. But the idea is like you can't dom a clown no matter how hard you try.
Okay.
Like a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only I like this apparently.
You like clowns. This is known.
No, I don't mean the literal. I mean a personality. If someone has a clownish personality, it's hard to dom them.
Yes, but you do
That's a
like
challenge.
clowns.
I do like clowns, but that's not the kind of clown I mean.
You like fucky clowns.
I do like fucky clowns, but like you are muddling the points.
Oh, and look at me after like fucking an hour after I said I don't try to yuck anyone's yum, but I'm not yucking. I'm
You
yucking.
why? I don't. I'm not sharing anything again.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm horrible. I'm sorry. I'm horrible. I'm sorry. I mean, I got some. I'm literally drawing equally laughable shit as we speak.
There's nothing
So.
laughable about what you're drawing.
There is. This is weird. This shit is weird.
Ah!
Not like
Spike's a monster fucker. Pass it on.
yeah, I mean, I'm not.
Um,
It's not super weird, but it's. I don't know. Like all right. Here's the thing. As a person who has been publishing porn for a while now, and also had a book that was like challenged at a library recently, I am perennially shocked by what some people legitimately seem to be agog at. You know what I mean? Like I thought this was very basic shit, but apparently not.
Spike, do you watch FD Signifier's YouTube videos?
Yes, I do. I have not seen the
Did you
new one
see?
yet, so don't tell me about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, about how conservatives can't fuck.
The right can't fuck. Yeah, yeah. I don't tell me anything
Mm,
about it. I have to set aside time
yeah,
for it. I can't watch it while I work because I want to pay attention to it.
they're very interesting videos.
Oh, I know. But yeah.
Um, but yeah, it basically because it's connected to you saying like you being surprised at like what
Yeah, because
makes them.
for folks who didn't know, we have a pretty decently selling title that is an Edwardian romance, and it's a sapphic Edwardian romance. And it's interesting. I like it a lot. And it got challenged at a library recently. And here's the thing, it's not remotely fucking out there. It's not super edged lord. It's not, anything
It's
that
lesbians, so
yeah,
that's wrong.
if it would, but seriously, if it was like a straight romance, it would just be the most fucking by the numbers shit ever. There's nothing extraordinary going on. And it got challenged at the library. And I'm like, really? I was
Yep,
very surprised to read that.
because it's gay.
Yeah, and I should note, by the way, the librarians came out fucking swinging for us, and it never had a chance of being banned, and I am eternally grateful for that. But it just blew my mind that like someone saw this and their monocle popped because I was like, I'm sorry, I thought this was 2022, but okay.
They gotta clutch them pearls.
I know, right? It's like, and so much of that is fucking fake.
Did
It
you
really is.
see the mural that like caused a controversy in a school?
I did see the mural with the teddy bear nurses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fucking fake ass outrage. My God.
All right,
Oh,
I've finished my page.
okay. And I'm going to probably keep painting this. I might post some previews to Twitter, maybe not.
I can keep going, but I have now finished the thing that I told myself I would finish today, so
Yeah.
I don't require people to keep talking to me now.
Felicitous miscellany. Yes. Patience and Esther, an Edwardian romance, got challenged at a library. And the librarians were like, fuck off. It wasn't even close. But it blew my mind because, like, really? Of all the shit I got like monster fucker books, right? It's kind of wacky that that's the one. I have books literally called Smut Peddler that haven't been challenged, but that one has. It's
Well, I
weird.
feel like smut peddlers aren't gonna end up in schools though,
Yeah,
or
I don't
kids
but
section,
I
or
don't think
teen
it
section.
the thing is I don't think it was in a kids section. It's just they literally just wanted it out of the library. So it's just one of those things where it's like, really? Are you like this about Joan Collins books? I bet you're not. But
I mean,
anyway,
they might be.
seriously doubtful. Seriously doubtful. Anyone who has read romance novels, which are voraciously consumed in the American book market, knows that those get so super fucking raunchy. And I haven't heard a single word about those being challenged on any level, like ever. So there's just sort of a
Well,
climate out there
again,
right
those
now.
are pros though, and images are different. Like,
Images are different. I think there is sort of people who are on the prowl now to make fucking trouble. I mean, I can't. I'm not.
yeah,
That's not a theory.
no,
That is a
that's
fact.
that's definitely true. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
I can understand the argument of like saying, even when it comes to like gore, saying guy gets his head chopped off and then showing an image,
that's
it's
fair.
different.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird out there right now, and I imagine that I got some stuff that's also going to be coming up fairly soon, and it'll be interesting to see if those get challenged as well. Because quite frankly, feel free to fucking challenge it. It's great promo, and every time I tweet about it, I sell a few more. I mean, challenge my shit. See if I care.
Whatever, I do what I want.
Yeah, make me some fucking money. Complain louder. Not to be mercenary about it, but I mean that's just simply how it is. It's called the Streisand effect. It's real. It exists. Stop looking at this. Stop looking at this. Stop looking at this. Makes people look. But yeah,
Why is that called the Streisand effect?
because years and years ago, Barbara Streisand had a mansion. And at some point, and everyone in the comments, feel free to stop me if this is wrong. This is what I have been told. Photographs of the mansion were published, and she started suing tabloids to keep photographs of her house out of the paper. The thing is, no one super cared about Barbara Streisand's house until she started working overtime to get people to stop looking at her house. And that increased people's curiosity. It's like, what's so amazing about Barbara Streisand's house that I'm not allowed to see it? And so the bounty for photographs of Barbara Streisand's house went up higher in the press, and people began looking for Barbara Streisand's house. And eventually there were like aerial photographs taken by biplane of Barbara Streisand's house. And this was
Okay.
all inspired by her screaming to the heavens, "Stop looking at my house." It's just really fucking weird. It's just human nature though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, if y'all want to call it here, it sounds like everyone's kind of losing steam a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amanda is already gone.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much for signing in and watching us. We've been going for 3 hours. I'm Spike. You can find me on Twitter at iron_spike. I run Iron Circus Comics. You can find that on Twitter at Iron Circus Comics with comics spelled COMIX. That's the only way it would fit. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It would be super cool if we could hit 1,000 followers at some point before the end of the year. Also, don't forget to like this video so the algorithm does nice things for it. I will think about having gaming streams in the future. I will ask a question on Twitter about that, and we will keep up the Geek Show screams regardless.
I'm Kel. I make comics you can read at kelmcdonald.com, mostly about gay werewolves in the future. I also do a comic on my Patreon called You Are the Chosen One, which is about 23 kids getting the same prophecy dream, telling them they're the chosen one. You can read that on my Patreon at patreon.com/kelmcdonald. I also stream my art, which is what I've been doing during this Geek Show stream. And you can watch that at twitch.tv/kelmcdonald. And you can find me on Twitter at Kelhound, which is spelled like Hellhound with a K. And that's it.
I'm Amanda Lafrene. My Twitter name is Amanda Gaffaday, AmandaGaffaday. I have a pinned tweet that links to all my stuff. You can find from there.
Thank you so much, everybody.